I was reborn back to the day I confessed to my childhood sweetheart amidst the crowd's jeering. He looked at my tear-swollen eyes and asked coldly, Lin Yueya, is this little performance for attention really necessary then? He turned and gazed tenderly at the one by his side, his true love. Just give me a moment. I'll come find you as soon as I'm done. He lectured me impatiently. Why are you such a crybaby when you have free time? You should read more. Don't spend all day thinking about romance. Ugh. I'm so annoyed, I snapped, shoving him aside and throwing myself onto the school bully who was watching the show from behind him. Honey, I held the person in my arms and sobbed uncontrollably. Chi-Chen, at 18, was still alive. Everything could still be set right. Before Chi-Chen died, he made me pinky promise to live to 100 before I went to join him. I agreed, and then I turned right around and broke my word. I went to find him on the third day. Before closing my eyes, I made an excuse to myself. When I see him, I'll say I dreamed he was flirting with other female ghosts down there. Truth is, I didn't dream at all. I can't sleep at all without him. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at 18. I held the bouquet as cheers and jeers rose and fell around me. Confess, go on, confess. The crowd was a surging sea, yet my eyes instantly found that shock of garish blonde hair. He stood in an unnoticed corner, his gaze brushing over me, casual yet deliberate. I looked at him, and the tears came instantly, beyond my control. Just as I was about to speak, Xingyi's voice cut through. Lin Yueya, is this little performance for attention really worth it? In a daze, I finally noticed the person standing before me. Their brow was slightly furrowed, their expression cold and detached. The lively atmosphere suddenly froze. The awkward silence was finally broken by Su Xing. Shani, we need to finalize your acceptance speech. Shani turned his head to look at her. Just give me a moment. I'll come find you as soon as I'm done here. His expression was uncharacteristically gentle. Su Xing is a top student, just like Shani. Some have joked that the two are a perfect match, a genius pair of academic stars, but Su Xing just scoffed and tossed out a remark. I'm not some silly girl whose head is filled with nothing but romance. At that moment, Shani looked at her with a rare glint of admiration in his eyes. He had also told me once that he didn't like girls whose heads were filled with nothing but romance, yet back then, foolishly, he was the only thing on my mind. I even naively thought of confessing to him on his birthday, convinced he wouldn't embarrass me. It was only later that I realized what he hated most was my emotional blackmail. Just like this moment, he took the flowers from my arms, visibly annoyed. You should spend more time reading, instead of obsessing over romance all day too. I was stunned for a moment. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Look, Lin Yueya is crying. She spent all those years fawning over Shani, and in the end, the campus belle became a laughingstock. Ugh, I'm cringing on her behalf. In my past life, I did indeed break down in tears from the sheer humiliation, but right now, my eyes are fixed only on that guy with the blonde hair in the corner. I stared straight at him, my lips parting, trembling. I couldn't make a sound. Tears simply streamed down. Seeing me like this, Shani furrowed his brow and sighed. Lin Yueya, why are you such a crybaby? I'm so annoyed. You keep talking and you're blocking my view. I shoved Shani aside with all my strength and sprinted to throw myself into the arms of the person I thought I'd lost. Darling, you're alive. Oh, thank God. Sobbing, his warm chest, that familiar scent of sunshine. I held him, weeping uncontrollably. The person in their arms went rigid. Sis, you've got the wrong idea, haven't you? Their face flushed crimson, right to the tips of their ears. 3. Lin Yueya, who are you calling honey? Xingyi's voice came from behind, tinged with anger. How many times are you going to pull the same old trick? Then again, in my past life, I often pretended to be close with other guys just to make Shani jealous. He would get angry, but he'd also casually try to cheer me up. But this time, the other person was a lowlife he despised the most. I held Chi-Chen, my sobs growing more and more uncontrollable. Wah, you're really alive, my love. I couldn't believe it. My hand slipped under his clothes, desperate to check if the fatal wound from our past life was on his chest. Chi-Chen was utterly startled by my actions. Holy shit, what are you doing? I sobbed. Take off your shirt, let me see. His face flushed bright red in an instant. I'm a decent person, damn it. I started crying even harder. Wah, honey, I want to see it. Please just let me have a look. His hands were fidgeting, with nowhere to put them. Finally, he lowered his voice in resignation. Hiss, can we wait until there's no one around to look? Watching this scene, Xingyi's eyes filled with disgust. Lin Yueya, aren't you ashamed to make a scene in public? I'm not going to placate you this time. With that, I turned and walked away. The crowd also dispersed, their mood soured. For the show's over. Miss, aren't you going to let go? The voice from above held a note of mockery. I just kept shaking my head, sobbing against his neck, my body trembling with each cry. I won't let go. I'll never let go, not in this lifetime. At 18, Lin Yueya's legs were whole, and her spirit was free from the shadow of depression. At 18, Chi-Chen had not yet taken a blade for her, there was still time for everything. Chi-Chen looked at me in disbelief, his tone threatening. In that case, shall I leave? He carried me out of the classroom. The moment I stepped outside, the head teacher's voice rang out, "Hey, Chi-Chen, instead of training properly, what are you doing over there? Hugging a female classmate, that's completely inappropriate." I just kept holding onto him tightly. Seeing that I was unmoved, Chi-Chen, his face flushed, tried to explain. "Teacher, a female classmate has broken her leg, I'm carrying her to the infirmary." The head teacher's tone softened a little. "You've got a good heart, kid." It suddenly reminded me that Chi-Chen in my past life was just the same, carry me around the world to see the sights, and stay with me through my rehab. After everyone had gone, he looked at me, utterly exasperated. "Seriously, Miss Lin, what kind of game are you playing?" I clung to his neck and wouldn't let go. "Honey," his skin crawled at the sound, and he gritted his teeth. "Don't call me that. Who said I'm your husband? You're my husband, you know." I pouted, feeling wronged. "I love my darling husband the most." His head was about to explode. He reminded me in a low voice, "Young mistress, do you remember who threw away my love letter yesterday?" I was instantly embarrassed. What terrible timing. Chi-Chen did confess to me once. I remember stomping on his love letter with utter contempt. "I can't stand jocks like you, all brawn and no brains. Come to think of it, I'm just a dancer, all flexibility and no brains." Truth be told, I never really hated Chi-Chen that much. It's only because I dislike Shani that I'm taking it out on everything associated with him. He despises all fools, especially someone like Chi-Chen, who not only has terrible grades but also acts like a bully at school. I blinked my eyes and explained with an earnest expression, "Well, actually, what I did yesterday was a test for you, and I promise, darling, from now on, you're the only one for me." Chi-Chen's mouth twitched slightly. "Ugh, could you please stop calling me that?" I shook my head. "No." He gritted his teeth and resigned himself to it. "Ugh, fine, call me whatever the hell you want." He looked down at me, clinging to him like a koala, and sighed. "But, Lin Yue, you're a person, not a monkey. Could you get off me?" "But I want to hold you a little longer, honey." His Adam's apple bobbed, his ears flushed bright red. At 18, Chi-Chen had that fierce yet adorable look about him. 5. Chi-Chen turned and, scooping me up, carried me off to his second uncle's house. The old man held his fortune-telling stall at the mouth of the alley, muttering mystical nonsense every day. "Grandpa, I think she's been possessed." Second uncle stroked his beard and gave me a look. "Huh, her eyes are bloodshot, she's definitely been followed by something." As he spoke, he pulled out a piece of yellow paper and drew a talisman. He then placed the talisman on himself to ward off evil spirits. Chi-Chen set me down outside the house and instructed me, "Wait here for a moment, don't follow me, I'll be right back." I ignored him and quietly followed him to just outside the door. I could only hear him ask in a low voice, "Master," I wanted to ask, "is there a talisman to keep her corrupted forever?" A secret delight stirred within me. "Oh, you little thing, you've been head over heels for me, completely smitten, crashing into walls for me all along. Chi-Chen, in this lifetime, let me be the one to run to you." 6. I live with the Shin family. Our families have been close for generations, and we were betrothed to each other as children. The year I turned 10, my parents passed away unexpectedly. Shani held my hand tightly and said, "Xiaoyi, you still have me. I'll always be here for you." I moved into the Shin household, and his parents treated me with great kindness. I've been practicing dance since I was a child, and his mother hired the best teachers for me. My wardrobe is filled to the brim with beautiful clothes that Aunt Shin bought for me, but no matter how good it was, I was never their child. They had always seen me as their future daughter-in-law. It wasn't until I broke my leg and could no longer walk properly that they decided a daughter-in-law like me was an embarrassment. They said to me, "Xiaoya, we've always cherished you as our own daughter, and Xiaoyi sees you as a little sister. Don't you worry, we'll find you a good husband." At the dinner table, Mr. and Mrs. Shin served me food and asked about my studies. Remembering their words from my past life, I couldn't help but find it all rather absurd. I put down my bowl and chopsticks. "Uncle, Auntie, I'd like to move into the school dormitory. It would help me focus on my studies. As you know, my academic grades aren't the best." They were a bit taken aback. "How could anyone live in those awful dorm conditions?" "Xiaoyi, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Xiaoyi gets good grades, just let him tutor you." I shook my head calmly. "No, it's fine, he's busy with a competition lately. I don't want to bother him." Aunt Shin seemed to pick up on something. "Did you two have a fight?" Shani remained silent, and I gave a light smile. "Not at all. He's always been very good to me, and I've always thought of Shani as my own brother. I'm sure in the future, he'll find a wonderful wife for your parents, someone just as outstanding as he is." Shin Yi's gaze faltered for a moment, and he looked at me. 7. I had no appetite, so I got up and went to the bedroom, but lying in bed, just like in a past life, that all too familiar sense of insomnia washed over me again. Back then, my depression was severe, and I relied on sleeping pills to get through each night. It wasn't until I was with Chechen that I slowly began to heal. People with insomnia are always anxious and irritable. I simply got up and went to the living room to pour myself a glass of water. I can't believe I ran into Shani. Have a little something. I noticed you barely touched your dinner. He placed a bowl of my favorite chicken wonton soup in front of me. Are you still upset about what happened earlier? He crouched down in front of me and let out a helpless sigh. I'm just upset that you're in your final year of high school and not focusing on your studies. Seeing that I remained silent, he reached out and ruffled my hair. All right, don't be upset. Okay, he let out a soft, helpless chuckle. Silly you, he's always like this, saying something kind and gentle after I've been wronged. I'm such a fool, always going back to forgive him. I keep lying to myself that he actually likes me, because he's gentle with me and does these little things that seem so thoughtful. Seeing I was ignoring him, he stroked my hair again, his tone dripping with affection. Do you think our future children will be as silly as you? In a past life, he had said those very words. At the time, I was deeply moved, thinking he had envisioned a future for us. Little did I know, it was something a teacher remarked after he and Su Xing won an award. If these two ever got together, imagine how brilliant their kids would be. He wasn't thinking about marrying me or starting a family. He was worried that being with me would affect the intelligence of his future children. I managed a faint smile and looked at him. Don't worry, there won't be any children in our future. Shani let out a sigh and frowned. Lin Yue, yeah, I'm busy too. I don't have time to indulge your inexplicable moods. I smiled calmly and said it won't happen again. 8. Shani stopped trying to placate me and turned to go back to his own room. I went out, dark circles under my eyes, and went to bang on Chi-Chen's door. Chi-Chen's parents were divorced, and he lived by himself in a place near the school. The moment the door opened, I flew right into his arms. Honey, I'm sleeping with you tonight. You. He looked utterly stunned, his hands frozen in the air. No, Lin Yue, yeah, I don't freaking do that kind of work. I can't sleep without you. I held him tightly, my voice choked with tears and exhaustion. Darling, I'm so sleepy. He lost it again, muttering curses under his breath. Sleep, sleep, sleep. I managed to get into his bedroom. The moment I lay down on his bed, he grabbed his pillow and bolted for the living room. I quickly grabbed his hand to stop him. Where do you think you're going? I'm sleeping on the couch. No, I want to sleep together. I held his hand tightly, looking utterly pitiful. I can't sleep when you're not beside me. Honey, in my past life, Chi-Chen was like my security blanket. I always slept soundly and peacefully with him by my side. I clung to him, sobbing and refusing to let go. Fuming with rage, he flopped stiffly onto the bed. Fine, let's just sleep then. It's not like I'm the one who'll lose out. Let me tell you, a guy like me has no limits. He was talking tough, but then he blushed, turned away, and kept his distance happily. I moved closer and hugged him from behind. His hand instinctively reached downward, clutching the blanket. He jolted upright in shock. Lin Yue, where do you think you're touching? I whimpered, feeling utterly wronged, holding on to something that feels safe. 9. You feel secure now, but what about me? He guarded himself tightly, like a chaste and virtuous man. Sometimes, I really feel like calling the cops on myself. You clearly love it most when I hold you for a naked cuddle. He was incredulous. What the? Since when do I like sleeping naked? Ever since we got together. After we got married, Chi-Chen developed a love for sleeping naked, and he insisted I join him. He called it skin-to-skin cuddling, claiming it was more comfortable. I have to admit, it really is. Chi-Chen stared at me, his mind filled with question marks. Lin Yue, have you been possessed by some kind of fox spirit? Do you need to drain a man's life force to survive? Well then, will you let me drain yours? His face flushed crimson instantly, and he refused me with righteous indignation over my dead body. Let me tell you, I'm a model student. I absolutely do not date in school, but I really can't fall asleep without holding someone. I pouted. Darling, a flicker of struggle flashed in his eyes. Then just hold me. Is that okay? He was exasperated and helpless. I'm begging you. I didn't get together with Chi-Chen until I was 25. Who would have thought that Chi-Chen, with his wild and flirtatious reputation, could be so innocent at 18? He just sparkles with charm. 18, such a sweet and capable age. An innocent high schoolboy, a sugar mommy's dream. This is unbearable. Could you let me take a look? 18, such a tender, youthful age, harder than a diamond. What are you looking at? He looked as if he'd been stepped on, his ears flushed red, his eyes darting about in panic. Lin Yue, have you no shame as a young lady? Sigh. He just doesn't get it. At 28, you're in the prime of your life. I bit my lip, feeling wronged. Honey, calling me daddy won't help you now. He wrapped me up tightly in the blanket like a burrito, pinning me down from the outside. Go to sleep. And another thing, Don't call me hubby anymore. I nodded. Okay, hubby. No, okay. Chi-Chen 10. That familiar scent, that familiar heartbeat. My Abeba is back. I looked at his 18-year-old self and spoke softly. Chi-Chen, I'm not possessed. The truth is, I'm from 10 years in the future. I'm the 28-year-old Lin Yueya. Ha. Why don't you just say you're a fairy who descended from heaven? It's true. I really am from 10 years in the future. He gave a perfunctory nod. Sure. I'd believe you even if you said you were from Mars. You don't believe me. My mind started turning. Glanced down at him. You have a mole there. He jolted violently, his face a mask of shock. Holy shit, Lin Yueya. When did you sneak a look? Me. 7 years later. He paused for a moment. Are you really from 10 years in the future? Unable to contain my curiosity. So, did I win a world championship 10 years later? Absolutely. You won the world championship at 22 and completed the Grand Slam by 25. No one in the world could outswim you. Holy shit, I was that good. He was a bit excited and pressed further. What about you? Did you become a famous dancer too? I lowered my head slightly. Well, of course we got married. His voice held a hint of caution and nervousness. Yeah, we got together right after high school. After you won the world championship at 22. You proposed to me in front of the whole world. His eyes lit up, and he asked again, so, do we have any children? I nodded with a smile. Yes. After we had each conquered our respective fields, you announced your retirement at 28. I gradually shifted my focus from the stage to the lectern. That was the year we had our own child. I tried hard to suppress the lump in my throat. The year he won the world championship. He never even proposed to me. I drifted through life in a daze, making a complete mess of it. At 25, Lin Yueya was pulled from the abyss by Chi-Chen, only to drag him into the darkness. Thankfully, at 18, everything was still possible for us. 11. I woke up from that sleep feeling completely refreshed and clear-headed. Kitchen left early for his training session. He's been swimming since he was 7 or 8 years old, for over a decade. His routine has never wavered, a daily test of his physical limits. The hardships involved were far beyond what mere academic study could compare to. When I arrived at the classroom, I ran into the homeroom teacher. Oh, perfect, Tsukino is here. The graduation party is coming up soon. How are the rehearsals going? I was taken aback for a moment, a little slow on the uptake. My deskmate jumped in and answered for me. Teacher, Tsukino's dancing is amazing, and she really elevated our rehearsal. Combined with Shinyi's piano solo, it's going to be absolutely stunning. Our class is sure to win first place. Alright, let's make the most of our rehearsal time. It just hit me that the graduation party is almost here. All the girls in our class are putting together a group dance performance. Our homeroom teacher said it's a rare chance to let loose. Everyone's heading to the dance studio to practice. The performance was set to be a classical dance by all the girls in the class, with Shinyi providing both vocals and piano accompaniment from the side of the stage. Shinyi has been an excellent pianist since childhood, with a beautiful tone as well. I really wanted our group to win this honor, and I had to beg him for a long time before he finally agreed. But at that moment, in the rehearsal room, Su Xing arrived fashionably late. A classmate couldn't resist sneering. Hey, Su, top of the class, we're always waiting for you. Could you try to be a bit more considerate of the group? Su Xing remained unruffled. My apologies. The principal just asked me and Shinyi to give speeches as outstanding student representatives at the evening gala. The voice was neither loud nor soft, yet it carried an unmistakable air of superiority. Someone muttered under their breath, what's with the showboating? After Su Xing joined the team, I resumed the rehearsal we were just having. Alright, let's run through yesterday's routine one more time, and then we'll do a full run-through with Shinyi. Everyone's dancing well, except for Su Xing, who's off the beat again. At this point, the murmurs of discontent grew louder. Hey, Su Xing, what's going on? You didn't get the moves yesterday, and you promised to practice on your own. How come you still can't keep up today? Seriously, could you not hold us back? Aren't you supposed to be a quick learner? Can't you even manage such a simple move? Everyone chimed in, one after another. A flicker of displeasure crossed Su Xing's face as he replied coldly, why should a trivial graduation performance take up my study time? Before criticizing others, maybe take a look at your own grades first. How can you have the nerve to waste your youth like this? What's the point of this dance anyway? Will it get you extra points on the college entrance exam? I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. Su Xing, you were the one who was late and didn't practice the moves properly. Why are you trying to shift the blame onto others? She let out a soft, mocking laugh. Lin Yueya, it's obvious you just wanted to show off. Why drag others down just to make yourself look better? Someone had seen enough. This is a team honor. How did it turn into Tsukino showing off? She's a dance major. If she doesn't take the lead, are you suggesting someone who can't tell their left from their Right should do it. At this, everyone burst into laughter. Su Xing's face fell with embarrassment, and she muttered disdainfully, I can't be bothered arguing with you lot. It's utterly pointless. With a single sentence, she managed to piss everyone off. To be honest, Su Xing wasn't very popular in class. She once declared with an air of aloofness, I don't like hanging out with other girls, they're too calculating, I'm not like them. And she certainly was different from the rest of us. While everyone else was secretly reading mindless romance novels, she was the one holding a complete English edition of Tagore's poetry. When the teacher asked her to share her solution to the problem, she wrote out a series of complex formulas and stated, these are calculus formulas, which you won't learn until university. I doubt anyone here except Shani would understand them. Many of the girls in the class thought she was just putting on an act, yet, Shani considered him a kindred spirit. They even believed I was the ringleader in ostracizing Su Xing and bullying her. When Shani stood up for her, she just said coolly, forget it, there's no point arguing with a fool. Shani admired her even more for it. It was said that someone like Shani, a top student, preferred girls who were his intellectual equal. Theirs was a relationship of the mind. In his eyes, I was just a simple-minded art student. I don't care. Claps hands dismissively. In that case, Su Xing, you can stop dancing. Staring at her, a mocking smile plays on his lips. After all, the way you dance is truly laughable. Another wave of laughter erupted. She was instantly rendered speechless with rage. Shani, standing nearby, could no longer bear to watch. Lin Yueya, why do you have to be so harsh? I let out a cold laugh. But in my past life, after my leg was broken, she spoke to me in this very tone. Lin Yueya, the way you walk is truly pathetic. I was just following her lead. It's not like she broke her leg. A flash of anger crossed Xinyi's eyes. Are you guys just going to keep bullying Su Xing forever? He shielded Su Xing and declared, let me make this clear, if she quits, I'm out too. Su Xing's eyes welled up with emotion. Xinyi, I just shrugged with a faint smile. That's wonderful. In my past life, Su Xing didn't want me to steal the spotlight, so she deliberately fell at Xinyi's feet during the performance. Xinyi instinctively reached out to catch her. The accompanying music came to an abrupt halt. The entire show descended into an awkward silence. Everyone was flustered, losing the rhythm, and their movements became a complete mess. However, Xinyi's instinctive act of saving Su Xing was praised. Both of them were top students and were naturally well liked by the teachers. The teacher said that friendship comes first, competition second. Xinyi's conduct was the most exemplary for everyone to learn from, and they were even awarded a special prize. When accepting the award, Su Xing deliberately waved at me. Tsukino, could you do us a favor and take a photo for us? The entire audience gave them a warm round of applause. She and Shani were beaming with radiant smiles. Meanwhile, the girls in the class were backstage, crying tears of frustration. 12. After Shani and Su Xing dropped out, everyone was at a loss without their backup vocals. Tsukino, if it's not working, just play the background music, someone suggested helplessly. I waved my hand dismissively. It's fine, someone else can step in my past life, when my depression was at its worst, Chi-Chen would often hold me and sing softly by my ear. He had an incredibly beautiful singing voice. Later, after my leg recovered, she encouraged me to pick up dancing again and return to the stage. As I danced, he would play the piano to accompany me from the side. I immediately took out my phone to call him. Chi-Chen, we need you to perform a piano solo and sing for our show. He didn't even think about it. No way, I can't do that. So I pulled out my ultimate move. Honey, shut up. Honey, wait, no, I'm on my way. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Look at that reaction, you're practically Pavlov's dog. Kitchen arrived with great reluctance and remarkable speed. Upon hearing the news, Shani and Su Xing were somewhat incredulous. How could Kitchen possibly take your place in the performance? Shani snorted dismissively. What kind of decent music could a jock possibly play? In his eyes, sports and arts programs were just fallback options for underachievers. However, his skepticism did nothing to dampen our enthusiasm. As the evening gala began and the lights came up, I led all the girls in our class in a graceful dance, while the gentle strains of the piano and a deep, resonant voice slowly filled the air. Everyone was utterly amazed. The audience responded with thunderous applause and cheers. It was absolutely incredible. Our class of girls looked absolutely stunning. Wow, my dear consort Chi, what other surprises do you have in store for me? Why are you even swimming? Sports rep, you should just debut as an idol. After the performance, Chi-Chen walked over to me, looking rather pleased with himself. So, didn't embarrass you, did I? I looked at him, my eyes practically sparkling with hearts. Honey, you're the absolute best. He lifted his chin with pride. You bet I am. 13. Our performance was a huge hit. and we unsurprisingly took first place. Chi-Chen and I went on stage as representatives to accept the award. The principal looked on with immense satisfaction. I had no idea the students at our one high school were so talented. In previous years, we always selected students with top grades to give speeches. However, our true aim is the well-rounded development of moral, intellectual, physical, and aesthetic qualities. I am confident that our students will shine brilliantly in all walks of life in the future. In that case, students Lin Yueya and Chi-Chen, please step forward as our outstanding representatives and deliver your speeches. We were taken by surprise for a moment. His gaze swept across the audience. Su Xing clutched his prepared speech tightly in both hands, his face etched with resentment. Xing Yi's gaze settled on us, his expression unreadable. I stood on the stage and took a deep breath. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Yueya. My late mother was an outstanding classical dancer, and under her influence, I started down this path at the age of 7, from the very first basic training exercises, through countless falls and getting back up. I never once thought of giving up. Dance taught me not just graceful posture, but resilience and perseverance, the relentless pursuit of a dream. My dream is to attend the Beijing Dance Academy and win the Tally Cup Championship. Chi-Chen then immediately stepped forward, his tall figure standing especially straight and proud. Hello everyone, I'm Chi-Chen, a student athlete who loves swimming, from the fear and despair of nearly drowning at 8 years old, to moving through the water with ease at 18. The day in, day out training has been a constant test of both body and will. Failure, injury, and doubt never made me quit, because I have a dream. He paused, his expression turning completely serious, his gaze unwavering with determination. My dream is to attend Beijing Sport University and become an Olympic champion. The audience erupted in thunderous applause. At 18, those long-cherished dreams will finally come true. 14. After stepping off the stage with the award, the girls from my class swarmed over, eager to take photos with the trophy. Someone suggested, let's find someone to take a group photo for us. A smile touched my lips as I waved to Su Xing. Su Xing, could you do us a favor and take a photo? After all, you're the only one not in it. Suppressing his anger, Su Xing raised his phone. Chi-Chen strode over to Shani, handed him the phone, wearing a smug smile. Class rep, could you do us a favor and take a photo of me and my wife? Shani took it with a cold expression. Chi-Chen handed me the photo to look at. How does it look? Me, it's alright, I guess. Chi-Chen looked utterly shameless. Sorry to trouble you again, class rep. My wife wasn't too pleased. Shani finally couldn't take it anymore and roared at Chi-Chen. Chi-Chen, who the hell do you think you are? He wrapped his long arm around me, grinning from ear to ear. Me, I'm Lin Yueya's husband. That's who. Xing Yi's face turned ashen as he glared at him, teeth clenched. A jock like you, a total delinquent, is worthy of Xiao Yi. Dream on. An Olympic champion, don't make me laugh. I took a step forward, staring at Shani. I let out a cold sneer. Shani, if I remember correctly, you ranked 25th in the province on this mock exam. Do you know Chi-Chen's recent competition results? He came in 2nd in the province and 5th in the nation. You're the one who's actually underperforming. What gives you the right to look down on others? I tugged on the hem of Chi-Chen's shirt, turned, and walked away side by side with him. Send me the photo. I want to use it as my wallpaper. Hold on, I need to put on a filter. How can a guy like you be paler than me? That's just pool bleach doing its work. 15. On the way home from school, Chi-Chen and I were stopped by Shani. I was annoyed. What do you want? He explained. It's not about the Beijing Dance Academy entrance exam. Come home, and I'll help you catch up on your academic subjects. No need. Back when he used to tutor me, he was always incredibly impatient. He couldn't fathom how I couldn't grasp such simple problems. Helping me is always a torment for him. I was wrong about the gala program, and I apologize to you. He lowered his stance, his tone uncharacteristically gentle. Please, don't be upset anymore. Okay, I chuckled lightly. Shani, I was never upset with you in the first place. My studies are none of your concern. If you're that bored, go find Su Xing and discuss poetry, philosophy, or the meaning of life with him. Xiao Yi, I don't like Su Xing, he hurriedly explained and made a promise to me. I'll put Beijing as my top choice for university. After graduation, we'll be together. I promise you. I frowned, calling him out directly on his lie. But didn't you and Su Xing just apply to prestigious universities abroad? Xiao Yi, I was just giving it a shot. I never actually planned on going abroad. I found the whole thing utterly ridiculous in my past life. He also promised to go to Beijing with me. It wasn't until the day of my art school entrance exam that Su Xing deliberately told me. Shani asked me where I wanted to go for university. I said I wanted to study abroad, so he applied to the same school as me. Don't tell me he never mentioned it to you. She held herself with an air of superiority, her face full of disdain. Lin Yueya, How much longer are you going to keep pestering him? It's obvious he doesn't like you. In this whole world, only Shani is worthy of me. And only I am worthy of him. That time, because of the provocation from Su Xing, I failed to get into the school I had my heart set on. Faced with my questioning, Shani just brushed it off with a casual explanation, saying the opportunities abroad were better and that he didn't actually like Su Xing. He acknowledged our relationship and gave me the title of his girlfriend. He told me to just wait a few years, until he graduated, and then we would get married. I believed him. When he finally graduated, he said he needed to focus on his career first. He and Su Xing started a business together, riding the wave of an industry boom. Their careers took off spectacularly during those years. I was dancing with the troupe, stuck in a state of mediocrity. My teachers always said I had great potential, but my movements lacked soul. Shani and Su Xing became the media's golden couple, a perfect match from equally prominent families. His promise of marriage to me has been postponed time and time again. 16. I glanced at the date on the calendar. The college entrance exams were getting closer and closer. Anyway, Shani is about to go abroad, and I won't be chasing after him anymore. In Chi-Chen's tiny room, the two of us, total slackers, were cramming like crazy. Who signed the Treaty of Shimonoseki? Wasn't me. I know it wasn't you. In the Northern Sea, there is a fish named Kuan, so vast, so immense, too big for a single iron pot to stew. Tired from studying, want a bite? Alright, I've been at it half the night, and this stuff just won't stick. Early the next morning, as Chi-Chen and I were heading out, we unexpectedly ran into Shani, and he was with his parents. Their faces were dark, a mix of shock and anger. Shani was the first to confront me. Sharia, you haven't been staying in the school dorm at all, have you? You've been living at his place these past few days. I didn't deny it. That's right. Her parents' faces instantly fell upon hearing this. Oh no, how could a nice girl like you be so shameless? We've always treated you as our own daughter, raised you like a princess since you were little. And yet you'd stoop so low as to live with some lowlife. Get your ass back home this instant. I stood there quietly, listening to their taunts, one after another. Then, with a slight tug at the corner of my mouth, I spoke calmly. Uncle, Auntie, I am deeply grateful for all your care over the years, but I'm an adult now, and I can walk my own path from here on out. It's true you've spent a considerable amount raising me. However, the business my parents left me, which you've been managing on my behalf, must have generated profits far exceeding that cost. I won't ask for it back. Consider it my thanks for your upbringing, but I won't trouble you any further. I'll have a lawyer handle the transfer. Hearing this, the two of them were instantly enraged. Lin Yueya, do you think we raised you just for your family's money? It's true what they say, a child not of your own blood is different. After all these years of raising you, we've only nurtured an ungrateful wretch. You were never the brightest, but we never looked down on you for it. We always saw you as our future daughter-in-law. And how have you repaid us? How can you face our parents in the afterlife with what you've done? Scenes from the past flashed through my mind, the naive version of myself who once believed their words, struggling desperately against their indifference. But in this life, I will never be a lamb to the slaughter again. Ha, you treat me as your own daughter, you see me as your future daughter-in-law. In my past life, everyone was shipping Shani and Su Xing. No one even knew I was his real girlfriend. I couldn't accept it. So I exposed my relationship with Shani online. The Shin family elders confronted me in anger, demanding, Lin Yueya, do you have any idea how much this could ruin Xingyi's public image and damage his career? He's already given you the title of his girlfriend, and we've accepted you. What more do you want? You do nothing all day but wallow in petty jealousy. Look at Su Xing. Why is she so outstanding? However, when faced with media interviews, the two of them stated, oh, Sharia, well, she was betrothed to Xiaoyi since they were children. Her parents passed away early, and we took her in out of pity, raising her as our own daughter. She's always been very attached to her brother. In an instant, my name was all over the gossip columns. An arranged marriage from childhood. What era is this? Who still does that? They took her in, and this is how she repays their kindness. What an ungrateful wretch. The Starlight duo were the campus sweethearts, and this shady stepsister just had to force her way in. I heard she was a bully back in school, always picking on Su Xing. She's so desperate for fame. Word is she's some nobody dancer. A dancer? What kind? The suggestive kind. Just look at that. It's definitely had work done. Completely outclassed by Su Xing's icy, goddess-like aura. During that time, I was doxxed, cyberbullied, and abandoned by the whole world, all thanks to them. So this time, I will not make the same mistake again. Lin Yueya, if you ever regret this, don't come crying back to us. Aunt Shin spat out those words viciously, as if she had already decided my future would be miserable. Shani stood to the side, shocked by my words and actions, and demanded angrily, Xiaoya, How could you talk to my parents like that? Have you no conscience at all? I curled my lip in disdain, a cold smile playing on my face. No, I'm an ungrateful wretch, just leave me alone. Xingyi's parents pulled him away, admonishing him, son, let's go home, I don't want you to have anything more to do with her. 17 I stood there quietly for a long time, so long, in fact, that I didn't even react when Chichen suddenly pulled me into an embrace and asked in a low voice, Lin Yueya, did you lie to me? Were you unhappy in your past life? My eyelids fluttered, and my nose stung a little. Actually, we didn't get together right after high school. I chased after Shani for many years, only to end up with a heart full of scars at 25. My depression was so severe I attempted suicide, and then I accidentally fell off the stage. That's when you showed up. You said, Lin Yueya, I'm a world champion now, let me clear your name, marry me, and I'll make you the happiest person in the world. Let's make that wretched couple die of envy. On the very day we got our marriage certificate, you announced to the media, this is my wife, the girl I've had a crush on for years. So many people called you a fool led astray by lust, and fans left in droves. But you didn't care. You said an athlete's performance does the talking. You took me to see doctors for my leg, helped me with rehabilitation, and when I was anxious, you'd play the piano and sing for me. You held me as I slept, becoming my personal sleeping pill. Slowly, you healed me, and I returned to the stage. I held him tight, leaning close to his ear. Every day with you is a happy one. He patted my back, slow and steady, but I still arrived too late. I leaned into Chi-Chen's embrace, not letting him see the tears in my eyes. I didn't tell him that, in truth, our happiness didn't last. Chi-Chen married me at the absolute peak of his career. Back then, he had completed the Grand Slam and was a national hero, but an athlete's prime only lasts a few years. No one can stay on top forever, yet everyone's expectations for him were sky high. Even a second-place finish would get him criticized, with people blaming me for distracting him from his training. Then came a match where he was already injured, and, to make matters worse, spiked a fever right before the event. My heart ached for him, and I insisted he withdraw. But at that moment, a rabid fan lunged at me with a knife, shouting that I was the one holding him back. Chi-Chen instinctively stepped in front of me, shielding me. 18 As the college entrance exams approached, Chi-Chen and I were cramming for our academic subjects while frantically honing our professional skills. Fortunately, in the new round of competitions, Chi-Chen won the provincial championship. I poured all my energy into the art school entrance exams. On exam day, I touched his gold medal, desperately trying to absorb some of his winning luck. With that gold medal buff, I performed steadily throughout. I actually ended up getting first place in the art exams. As soon as I walked out of the exam hall, I was ready to give him a big hug, but then, I unexpectedly ran into my celebrity crush. He was even taller and more handsome in person, and to my surprise, he actually greeted me. Hello, you danced really well just now. I was over the moon and bossed Chi-Chen into taking a photo for us. My crush, looking at the guy with the dark expression, asked curiously, who's he? Oh, he's a classmate of mine. On the way back, someone was acting like a bitter, resentful woman. Who's the classmate? Why aren't you calling me hubby anymore? So you lose interest once you've got what you wanted, is that it? Me. Shut up. So I'm just the other woman, is that it? I'm just a joke to you, aren't I? Me. Don't make me kiss you in front of all these people. He shut up instantly. I stealthily poked him in the side. When can we kiss? His face flushed. Wait until there's no one around. 19 Not long after, the national college entrance exam results were released, and both Chi-Chen and I passed the required score. We both received acceptance letters from our dream schools. To my surprise, Shani didn't go abroad to study. Instead, both he and Su Xing got into the same university in Beijing. The pairing of the two top students from the same class still caused quite a stir on campus. They continued to compete together and win awards together. On the school forum, someone posted a photo of the two of them, marveling at what a perfect match they were. Faced with everyone's gossip, Shani flatly denied it. We're just classmates. I have someone I like. Later, someone discovered that he really did seem to have a crush on someone. He enjoys watching classical dance performances. Every time he went, he would bring a bouquet of sunflowers. Some speculated they were for a girl he liked. By then, we were already sophomores in college. Due to his outstanding academic record, Chi-Chen was selected for the national team. I became an overnight internet sensation after working as a dance double in a massively popular TV drama. The comments section was flooded with praise. Lin Yueya's dancing is absolutely incredible. No wonder she was the top scorer in the arts entrance exams back in the day. With a face and figure like that, sis, have you ever considered entering the entertainment industry? I heard my little sister has a performance coming up, so I stayed up late to snag a ticket. Every single show at the theater was sold out. Then, People started to notice something. In the front row of every performance, there was always a young man holding a bouquet of sunflowers, quietly watching the stage. Later, word got out that the guy was a top student from a prestigious university and had been my childhood sweetheart. Netizens started shipping us like crazy. Right then, Su Xing posted a photo online of him and Shini at a competition, with the caption, "The ones who understand each other best." However, this time, it was met with a wave of criticism. "Seriously, Shini already denied it ages ago. He said you were just classmates. What are you trying to gain by latching onto this girl? Are you that desperate for fame?" Su Xing, back in school. She looked down on everyone because of her grades. Nobody could stand her. "What business is it of yours to meddle in their childhood sweetheart bond? Who gave you the confidence to think Shani would ever like you? You have such a scheming, vicious look. Your figure, looks, and aura are all completely outclassed by Tsukino." The online gossip news reached unprecedented levels of popularity for a time. Xingyi's parents, surprisingly, even gave an interview to the media, stating, "Oh, Xiaoyi, she's our daughter-in-law. She and Xiaoyi grew up together, and their marriage was arranged since they were children. After her parents passed away, we took her in, raised her, trained her in dance, and loved her as our own daughter." Seeing the couple's complete change in attitude just struck me as laughable. I ignored all their conciliatory calls and instead sent them the contract my lawyer had drawn up years ago. It laid out, in black and white, all the money they had made over the years off my family's business. I thought this couple were such good people, but it turns out they're just preying on the vulnerable. "Ono has been dancing since she was 7. How can you claim to have nurtured that talent? You're sucking them dry and still expect gratitude. Have you no shame?" Many media outlets have been pressing me for details about my relationship with Shani. "I heard you and Shani grew up together." I thought about it for a moment. "We're from the same village." "Not close." Then I immediately posted a Weibo, tagging Chi-Chen. "This is my not yet legal husband." In no time, Chi-Chen's account gained countless followers. Oh my god. As expected of Tsukino's rigorous selection, all the handsome ones really do get recruited by the state. That broad-shouldered frame, those long legs. I can't even imagine how happy I'd be sleeping on that. What a match made in heaven. I'm totally shipping them. That night, I slept on those 8-pack abs and was exceptionally happy. Someone is long past the age of getting all prickly at the slightest touch. The variety was exceptional, and the effort was extraordinary. I'm starting to wear down. We've already swum 3 kilometers. How are you still so full of energy? Bedtime. I'm absolutely exhausted. I protested loudly, pinning down his mischievous hand. "Fasten your clothes properly." He deftly dodged, his voice low and husky. "Honey, how can you call it sleeping if you're still dressed?" 20. After the show, I saw Shani again. Some people are just plain despicable. Back when I was chasing after him, he couldn't be bothered. Now that I avoid him, he clings to me like a stray dog I can't shake off. He held the flowers, looking utterly dejected. "Oh no, I understand now. I did a lot of things in the past that hurt you, but I truly do care for you. All these years, I kept thinking you'd turn around and look my way." He hung his head, his voice hoarse, his eyes reddening. "I don't understand. Why did you suddenly stop caring about me?" I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself, but the scenes from my past life kept replaying like a hopeless dream. "Shani, I had a dream after graduation. You left me and Su Xing behind to study abroad. You said we'd get married once you finished your degree. I waited and waited. When you finally graduated, you said you needed to establish your career before you could marry me, and asked me to wait a little longer. Later, you and Su Xing started a business together. You were together day and night, admiring each other, becoming the perfect golden couple in everyone's eyes. No one knew I was your girlfriend. Back then, I begged you to come see one of my performances, just once. Even if you just brought a single flower, I would have forgiven you. But you never came, not even once." He stood there, stunned, unable to believe it. I looked at him and let out a bitter laugh. "What kind of prestige does that little theater even have? Do you have any idea how busy I am every single day?" "Right, you were busy dating Su Xing. The two of you rang the bell on NASDAQ together, traveled the world together, met each other's parents together. I waited for you all those years. I couldn't accept it, but what could I do? Everyone saw me as the villainess. The truth is, I was sick for a long time. In the end, I tried to kill myself, over and over, like I was insane." Faced with my constant emotional blackmail, you got fed up and said, "Fine, I'll marry you. Is that what you want?" But just before the wedding, Su Xing sent me her pregnancy test results. In my dazed state, I fell from the high stage and was left crippled. I closed my eyes for a moment, my throat tightening. In the end, your parents gave me a sum of money and told me to fend for myself. He was taken aback for a second before flusteredly explaining, how could I be like this? I wouldn't do that, Xiao Yi. I promised I'd always protect you. It was just a dream. I shook my head indifferently. No, that's not it, Shani. I may not be the smartest, but I'm not a fool. I looked him straight in the eye. Do you really like me? No, you don't. You're just unwilling to accept defeat. You're clever enough to know what I like, why I'm upset, and how to make me feel better, yet you deliberately choose not to. You just stand by and watch me get hurt, over and over again. What you really enjoy is my admiration for you, Su Xing's appreciation of you. You want to have your cake and eat it too. Take your cheap affection and keep it. I don't want it, and frankly, you're not worthy of giving it. 21 After Qichen joined the national team, he began competing in international events. He repeatedly broke his own personal records. The whole world witnessed his brilliance. After gaining some recognition, I devoted myself entirely to preparing for the Tally Cup competition. The Tally Cup is the most prestigious honor in the dance world. My mother's greatest regret in life was never winning the championship. I was determined to spare no effort to make up for that regret. Qichen and I, truth be told, spent more time apart than together. It was a rare moment, the two of them on a date near the school. We hadn't taken more than a few steps when a car suddenly shot out from the intersection and Qichen, reacting almost instantly, shielded me behind him. After a loud crash, we both fell to the ground. Visions of him from a past life, drenched in blood, flashed before my eyes. My heart felt as if it were being crushed by an invisible hand, my whole body trembling. I screamed his name with every ounce of my strength. Qichen, I'm okay, honey, I'm fine. He fumbled anxiously, trying to comfort me. Don't cry, please don't cry. It's just a scratch, you're okay. I was already in tears, my hand trembling as I touched his face, choking on my sobs. You idiot, you scared me half to death. You're alive, you're not dead. I held him tight and said, from now on, you are not allowed to get hurt, to bleed, or to step in front of me. He nodded repeatedly, saying, okay, I promise, but I never realized that no matter how many times we could start over, the moment danger struck, his instinct would still be to shield me. It took us a long while to come back to our senses. Only then did I realize the person in the car was actually Su Xing. Lin Yueya, you're actually alive. She stared at me, her face deathly pale, her eyes hollow and vacant, but her features were completely different now. It looked so fake. Her face was a mask of obvious cosmetic surgery. For a while, there were rumors that Su Xing had become obsessed with plastic surgery. I didn't pay them any mind, but it turns out they were true. There was gossip among high school classmates that she was the one who confessed to Shani. Shani rejected him without hesitation, saying her behavior was utterly pathetic. Su Xing wasn't willing to let it go and pressed for a reason. Shani impatiently tossed out a remark. Sometimes, the answers we seek can be found by taking a good, hard look in the mirror. Back then, many people online criticized her, calling her an unattractive person making a fuss. She started getting cosmetic surgery, but with each procedure, she grew more dissatisfied with her face. However, it was said her family wasn't very well off, so she eventually turned to online loans. I fell behind in my studies and even got disciplinary action from the school. In the end, drowning in debt, I even became the mistress of a middle-aged boss. Su Xing stared at me, like a madman, screaming hoarsely, it's all because of you, my whole life, it's all ruined because of you. Lin Yueya, why do you get all the adoration while I'm left to skulk in the shadows? I'm clearly so much better than you. I smiled calmly and said, perhaps it's karma. I looked at Su Xing before me, once so arrogant and conceited, now utterly down and out, and fell silent for a moment. Call the police. 22 The year I graduated from university, my hard work paid off, and I won the Tally Cup championship. The moment I stepped off the stage, I saw someone with a bouquet of flowers, waving their arms. I happily ran into their embrace and asked, was my dance beautiful? Absolutely breathtaking, like a captivating enchantress. He stared at me like a creep. Question King Zhou, understand King Zhou, become King Zhou. That same year, Qichen represented his country at the Olympic Games. At 22, he powered through the pool with astonishing speed and determination, leaving the world record line in his wake and achieving yet another breakthrough. At the awards ceremony, his eyes welled up as he watched the five-starred red flag being raised. When interviewed by a journalist from his homeland, he could no longer hold back and broke down in tears. I want to thank my country, my coach, and my wife. His voice choked with emotion, tears streaming down his face as he grew more and more overwhelmed. The last few reporters gathered around to try and comfort him. Just then, as if suddenly remembering something, he frantically and shakily pulled a diamond ring from his pocket. He was crying uncontrollably. The reporters looked at me helplessly, utterly frantic. Just say yes to him already, or he's going to be impossible to calm down. I looked at this ridiculous man, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I rushed over, hugged him, and slipped the ring onto my own finger. All right, that's enough now. You got a deal. After a long while, someone asked me with a flushed face, honey, did I just make a complete fool of myself? I sighed. Well, it's fine, I guess. He raised both hands and swore, next time, I promise I won't cry next time. I was speechless and just rolled my eyes at him. He says the same thing every time, and every time the waterworks start, half the water in the pool was from his tears. 23 In the years that followed, Chechen represented the nation, winning honor after honor through hard work. I stepped onto a bigger stage at the age of 28. Chechen could no longer keep swimming and retired with a legacy of honors. He began coaching young athletes to surpass his own records. I, too, passed the torch to younger dancers and returned to the classroom to teach. That year, we started trying for a baby. I asked him with a bit of worry, do you think our child might be not so bright? He said, if they're exceptional, they can serve the country. If they're ordinary, they can bring us joy at home. Neither of us ever had a complete family or experienced unconditional love. We're going to reparent our inner child in our 10th year after graduation. We returned to the school's anniversary celebration as distinguished alumni. A few of our old classmates were in the group. Suddenly, someone brought it up. Hey, have you guys heard about Shani? I heard his family's company went bankrupt. Word is, he made a fortune right after graduation by buying land and developing properties, but then the industry took a downturn, his cash flow dried up, and it seems his investments took a big hit too. Now his company's bankrupt and all the assets have been seized. I was momentarily stunned, and for a second, the name felt completely unfamiliar. Hey, Tsukino, didn't you have a crush on him back in the day? I shook my head frantically. Absolutely not. The end. Story 2. The moment I handed in my resignation letter, Jiangqing was still in the conference room, praising the new intern, Lu Cece. This proposal is excellent, Cece, you have a real talent for this. I stood at the doorway, watching his gentle smile. It was a smile I hadn't seen in 3 years. Qinwan, what are you doing here? Jiangqing noticed me and frowned. I held up my resignation letter. Mr. Jiang, I'm here to resign. The meeting room fell silent instantly. Jiangqing's expression changed. Let's talk outside. As I followed him out of the meeting room, I overheard Lu Cece whispering behind me, that's the finance manager, isn't it? I've heard she has quite a temper. Yeah, Mr. Jiang has been more than patient with her. Jiangqing led me into his office and closed the door. What's all the fuss about? It's not a fuss, I'm serious. I placed the resignation letter on his desk. I'll be leaving officially in a month. Jiangqing didn't even glance at the paper. Just because I praised Cece, no, what is that? I was silent for a few seconds before finally speaking up. Jiangqing, let's break up. He was taken aback for a moment, then laughed. Again, Qinwan, how many times have you pulled this trick? This time is different. How is it different? Jiangqing leaned back in his chair, looking dismissive. Every time you're upset, you threaten to break up with me, then I say a few nice things, and you calm down. So, what did I do wrong this time? Looking at him like that, my heart went completely cold. Jiangqing, do you know what day it is today? What day is it? Our 3-year anniversary. Jiangqing's expression shifted slightly, as if he remembered something. You forgot. I cut him off. Not only did you forget, but you chose today, in front of the entire company, to praise another woman. Cece is just an intern. Enough. I turned and walked towards the door. I've already submitted my resignation, and I've said we're breaking up. Let's just leave it at that. Qinwan, Jiangqing called out from behind me, but I didn't look back. As the elevator doors closed, I saw him standing at the office door, a look of panic on his face, but it was too late. Back in the finance department, my colleagues were giving me strange looks. Nguanjia, what happened between you and General Manager Jiang? Xiao Wang leaned in and asked. It's nothing, go on with your work. I turned on my computer and started tackling the tasks at hand. 3 years. It's been 3 years from childhood sweethearts in college to now being a couple in a supervisor-subordinate relationship. I thought time would make him more mature and teach him to cherish things, but he's still the same Jiangqing, always thinking I'm just being unreasonable. My phone buzzed with a WeChat message from Jiangqing. Let's have dinner tonight. I booked that Japanese restaurant you like. I didn't reply. I'm sorry. I completely forgot about our anniversary. Still no reply. Qinwan, stop making a scene. Everyone is watching. After reading that message, I blocked him right away. Chapter 2. During my lunch break, I went to the mall near the office. I wasn't there to shop, I was there for a job interview. I submitted my resume for the financial controller position at this mall a week ago. I didn't expect to hear back so soon. Ms. Chi. Your qualifications are quite impressive, said the interviewer, a poised woman in her 40s. But I am curious, why are you looking to leave your current company? I'm looking for a change of environment, I replied simply. From what I understand, your current company is larger and has better growth prospects. Sometimes, the right environment is more important than a prestigious platform. The interviewer nodded and asked, when would you be able to start? In 1 month. Okay. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Stepping out of the mall, I felt a lot more relaxed. I checked the time. There was still half an hour before work. I sat down at the coffee shop on the mall's first floor and ordered a latte. I had barely sat down when I saw a familiar figure hurry past. Lucy. She was holding a cup of coffee, a sweet smile on her face. I hadn't planned on getting involved, but seeing the direction she was headed, I couldn't help but follow. She walked into a jewelry store. Through the glass window, I saw there was another person inside the shop. Jiangqing. They were standing in front of a display case, with Lucy pointing at something as she spoke. Jiangqing gave a nod and said something to the shop assistant. The assistant brought out a necklace. It was silver, with a simple yet elegant design. Jiangqing took the necklace and fastened it around Lucy's neck. Lucy looked at herself in the mirror, beaming like a child. My hand gripped the coffee cup so tightly I nearly crushed it. For 3 years, Jiangqing had never once bought me jewelry on his own initiative. Every time, I had to pick something out myself before he would pay for it, and every single time, he'd say, "Why are you such a shopaholic?" And now he's actually buying a necklace for an intern, on his own initiative. I turned and walked away without another glance. Back at the office, I went over my resignation letter one more time to make sure everything was in order. Jiangqing was waiting for me in the elevator after work. "Qin, we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about," I said, pressing the button for the first floor. "What do you want from me?" Jiangqing was growing impatient. "I've already apologized. What more do you want me to do? What if I don't miss you?" The elevator reached the ground floor, and I stepped out. "I just think, we're not right for each other." "Not right for each other." Jiangqing followed me out. "Qin, we've been together for 3 years, since university. And now you're telling me we're not right for each other." "It's because we've been together for 3 years that I'm even more certain we're not right for each other." I stopped walking and turned to face him. "Jiangqing, guess what I saw at the mall today?" His expression shifted slightly. "When you were buying that necklace for Lucy, did it even cross your mind that today is our anniversary?" You never considered it." I cut him off. "Because in your mind, I'll always be Qin, the one who makes unreasonable scenes and forgives you unconditionally." "That's not true." "Yes, it is." I turned my back to him. "Jiangqing, I'm tired. I'm really tired." With that, I simply walked away. His voice called out from behind me, "Qin, stop right there." But I didn't stop. 3 years. It was time to end this. Chapter 3. The very next morning, I received the job offer from the department store. The salary was 30% higher than my current one, and the position was at a managerial level. I immediately accepted and confirmed my start date. When I started work, the atmosphere in the entire finance department felt a bit off. "Are you really leaving, Nguanjia?" Xiaowang asked, his face full of reluctance. "Yes, it's already decided." "Have you found a new job yet?" "Yes, I have." Xiaowang opened his mouth as if to say something, but in the end, the words never came. I knew exactly what he wanted to ask. It was about me and Jiangqing, nothing else, but I had no desire to explain. At 10 in the morning, Jiangqing's assistant, Xiaoli, arrived. "Manager Qi. Mr. Jiang would like to see you in his office." I glanced at the work in my hands and shook my head. "I'm busy. If he has something to say, he can tell me directly." Xiaoli looked uneasy. "Mr. Jiang said it's important." "Then there's even less reason to go." I didn't look up. "Tell him to send an email if it's work-related. Personal matters are out of the question." After Xiaoli left, the office grew even quieter. Everyone was stealing glances at me, but no one dared to say a word. At lunchtime, I went to the fast food restaurant downstairs from the office. Just after I'd ordered, I saw Lucy walk in. The necklace she wore yesterday sparkled in the sunlight around her neck. Carrying my tray, I found a seat in the corner and sat down. Lucy also ordered her food, looked around, and finally made her way over to me. "Sister Qi, mind if I sit here?" she asked, pointing to the seat opposite me. I nodded. After sitting down, Lucy gave an awkward smile. "Sister Qi, I heard you're leaving the company." "Yeah, is it because the workload is too much?" I put down my chopsticks and looked at her. What do you think? Lu Cece blushed. I don't know. Then don't ask, I said. Continuing with my meal, Lu Cece bit her lip and suddenly said, Sister Chi, Mr. Jiang is actually very concerned about you. I stopped what I was doing. After you left yesterday, he sat in his office for a long time. Lu Cece said quietly. He even asked me what kind of gifts girls usually like, and you suggested a necklace. Yes, Lu Cece blushed even deeper. But that's only because I thought he was buying it for you. I gave a light laugh. And now, isn't the necklace right there on your neck? Lu Cece instinctively touched the necklace at her throat. Well, Mr. Jiang said what? He said it was to thank me for helping him pick out a gift. I set down my chopsticks and wiped my mouth. Lu Cece, how old are you? 22. I'm 3 years older than you. So let me give you a piece of advice. I stood up. Some things people say, you just let them go in one ear and out the other. Don't take them too seriously, especially when it's a man talking. With that, I left. Back in the office, I found a bouquet of roses on my desk. They were red and strikingly vibrant. Next to the flowers was a card that read, I'm sorry, can you forgive me, Jiangqing? I glanced around and noticed my colleagues stealing glances at me. I picked up the bouquet and tossed it straight into the trash. Then, I tore up the card. Manager Chi, Xiao Wang started to say something. Get back to work. I turned on my computer and got back to it at 3 in the afternoon. Jiangqing sent his assistant to summon me again. This time, I didn't refuse because I had something to say to him. Chapter 4. In Jiangqing's office, it was just the two of us. He was sitting behind his desk, and I was standing by the door. Did you get the flowers? He asked. I did. I threw them away. Jiangqing's expression darkened. Qin Wan, what is it you want from me? I don't want anything from you, I said, stepping closer to him. I came to tell you I've already secured a new job. I'll be formally submitting my resignation next week. So soon? Yes. Jiangqing stood up, walked around the desk, and stopped in front of me. Qin Wan, we need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. He reached out to grab my hand, but I pulled away. Qin Wan, I admit I've been neglecting you lately, but that's no reason to break up. Neglecting me? I laughed. Jiangqing, you didn't just neglect me, you never took me seriously in the first place. How could you? Then tell me, what else have you forgotten besides our anniversary? Jiangqing was taken aback. On my birthday, you were working overtime. When my father was in the hospital, you were entertaining clients. I counted on my fingers. I worked late into the night, and you didn't even send a single message to check on me. Have you forgotten all of that? I have been quite busy with work. Yes, you're very busy. I nodded. So busy you can go shopping for jewelry with the intern. So busy you can praise every single one of her proposals. So busy you can remember exactly what coffee she likes. Jiangqing's face grew increasingly grim. Qin Wan, what nonsense are you talking? Cece and I are just in a normal superior-subordinate relationship. Oh, really? I took out my phone from my bag and flipped to the photo I took yesterday. Then how do you explain this? In the photo, Jiangqing is putting a necklace on Lu Cece. It's not a very clear picture, but it gets the point across. Jiangqing's face fell completely when he saw the photo. You're following me. I wasn't following you. I just happened to see you. I put my phone away. Jiangqing, I don't want to argue about this. I just want you to know that we're over. No. Jiangqing grabbed my wrist. Qin Wan, I won't agree to a breakup. You won't agree. I shook off his hand. Jiangqing, a relationship takes two people. It's not just your decision to make. We've been together for 3 years. So what? I cut him off. Does 3 years mean I have to keep putting up with your neglect and indifference? Does 3 years mean I have to watch you treat other women better than you treat me? Jiangqing opened his mouth, but no words came out. Jiangqing, I used to think you were just bad at expressing yourself, that I truly meant something to you, I said, looking into his eyes. But now I understand. I don't. I do. No, you don't. I shook my head. If I meant anything to you, you wouldn't have forgotten our anniversary. If I meant anything to you, you wouldn't praise other women in front of me. If I meant anything to you, you wouldn't buy gifts for other women. Jiangqing fell silent. I turned and walked toward the door. Qin Wan. His voice came from behind me. If you're really leaving, I won't stop you. I stopped in my tracks. But I didn't turn around. Just don't come crying to me later. I gave a short laugh, pushed the door open, and walked out. Regret. The only thing I regret is wasting 3 years on someone who wasn't worth it. Chapter 5. A week later, I officially resigned from the company. My colleagues threw me a small farewell party, but Jiangqing didn't show up. Sis Nuan, let's keep in touch. Okay, Xiao Wang said, his eyes reddening. Absolutely. I hugged each of my colleagues while packing my things. I found a few small gifts from Jiangqing still in the drawer: a pen, a notebook, and a small crystal ornament. They were all quite ordinary things, but I was genuinely happy when I first received them. Looking back now, these things are just like our relationship, all flashy on the surface, but essentially worthless. I threw them all in the trash as I was leaving the company. I ran into Lu Cece in the elevator. Sister Chi. She greeted me first. I heard today is your official last day. The elevator was quiet. Lu Cece seemed to want to say something but didn't know how to start. Just before we reached the first floor, she finally spoke up. Sister Chi, actually, about President Jiang. Don't, I cut her off. Those things have nothing to do with me anymore. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped out. Sis Chi, Lu Cece called out from behind me. President Jiang hasn't been himself these past few days. Actually, I didn't look back. I just kept walking. Whether Jiang Ching is doing well or not has nothing to do with me. My new job starts next Monday, so I've given myself a few days off. The first order of business is to move. The place I'm living in now is rented with Jiangqing. Even though we split the rent, there are just too many memories there, and I don't want to stay any longer. After searching online for a long time, I finally settled on a one-bedroom apartment very close to my new company. The apartment isn't large, but it's decorated very cozily. Most importantly, it's entirely my own. On moving day, Jiangqing showed up. You're moving out. He stood in the doorway, his expression grim. Yes, I continued packing things into the box. Why didn't you tell me? There was no need to tell you. Jiangqing walked in, looking at the cardboard boxes scattered across the floor. Qin Wan, do you really have to be this final? I stopped what I was doing and looked at him. Jiangqing, we've already broken up. I never agreed to the breakup. What do you want then? I stood up. To force me to stay with you. Jiangqing was silent for a moment. Qin Wan, I know I've done a lot of things wrong, but we can work on it. Take it slow. Work on it. I laughed. Jiangqing, feelings aren't a business deal. You can't just fix them because you decide to, so you won't even give me a chance. A chance? I pointed at the cardboard boxes scattered all over the floor. Jiangqing, I gave you 3 years. 3 whole years of chances. Did you ever appreciate them? Jiangqing opened his mouth, but no words came out. You didn't appreciate it. I continued packing my things, so now, I'm under no obligation to give you another chance. Jiangqing stood there, watching my busy figure, and in the end, he said nothing before turning and walking away. As I watched his retreating figure, a sudden pang of sadness washed over me. But it wasn't because I missed him, it was because I missed those 3 years of my youth. But so be it. Feeling sad is better than dragging things out any longer. Chapter 6. The new job is going more smoothly than I had imagined. My colleagues are all very friendly, and my boss is easy to get along with. Most importantly, there's no Jiangqing here. None of those troubling memories. After a month on the job, I had completely settled into the new environment. On my way home from work in the evening, I stopped by the mall to pick up some groceries for dinner. At the supermarket, I ran into someone I never expected to see. Gu Chen, my college classmate, and also Jiangqing's roommate. Qin Wan. He walked over, pushing a shopping cart. It really is you, Gu Chen. I nodded in greeting. Long time no see. Yeah, we haven't seen much of each other since graduation. Gu Chen looked pleased. Where are you working now? I've switched jobs to a company right around here. That's great. I work here too, Gu Chen said, pointing outside the mall. I'm at the law firm in the building across the street. We chatted as we shopped. Gu Chen told me he's a lawyer now, having just returned from studying abroad. So, how are things with Jiangqing? He asked. We broke up, I said flatly. Gu Chen was taken aback. When did that happen? Last month. Why? I thought you two were really close. I gave a bitter smile. Close, maybe, but a one-sided closeness can't sustain a relationship. Gu Chen seemed like he wanted to say something, but seeing my expression, he ultimately kept it to himself. When the bill came, Gu Chen suggested we get a meal together. I know a great Sichuan restaurant nearby. Are you free? I thought about it for a moment and nodded in agreement. The food at the Sichuan restaurant was really delicious, and we chatted as we ate. Gu Chen told me a lot about his experiences abroad, which was really interesting. Are you used to living on your own? He asked. It's good. I like the freedom. I took a sip of tea. Work is going smoothly, and life feels very fulfilling. That's good to hear. Gu Chen looked at me. Qin Wan, you seem more vibrant now than before. Do you think so? He nodded. You used to be so cautious all the time. Now it feels relaxed, very natural. I thought about it, and that was true. When I was with Jiangqing, I was always worried about saying the wrong thing or doing something wrong, afraid he'd get angry or upset. Now, without those worries, I really do feel much more at ease. After dinner, Guchen walked me home. Chinwon, can we keep in touch? He asked when we reached the building entrance. Of course, I said, giving him my new phone number. I'll head off then, get some rest. Okay, thanks for walking me back. Watching Guchen walk away, I felt really good. Running into an old friend in a new place is such a lucky thing. What's more, being around Guchen felt easy, no pressure, no baggage. This must be what a normal friendship is like. When I got home, I took a hot bath and then lay in bed reading. I'm quite content with this kind of life. No arguments, no cold shoulders, no suspicion. All I have now is peace and freedom. I wonder if Jiangqing would regret his choices if he could see my life now, but none of that matters anymore. What truly matters is that I've finally found my own rhythm. Chapter 7. Over the weekend, Guchen asked me out to see a movie. It was a thriller, and it was really good. After the movie, we wandered around the mall. As they passed by a jewelry store, Guchen suddenly came to a halt. Chinwon, what do you think of this bracelet? He asked, pointing to a silver one in the display window. It's lovely, I said, taking a closer look. The design is quite unique. Then I'll buy it for you, Guchen said. I was taken aback. No, that's too generous. It's not expensive. Consider it a gift to celebrate our reunion. Guchen, without another word, took my hand and led me into the store. The shop assistant greeted us warmly and quickly had the bracelet wrapped up. Guchen, you really don't have to. I tried to decline. It's perfectly normal for friends to give each other small gifts, Guchen said, handing me the box. If you don't accept it, I'll be upset. I had no choice but to accept it. As I left the jewelry store, I was feeling a bit conflicted. It's not that I don't want the gift, it's that it made me think of Jiangqing. In the 3 years I was with Jiangqing, he never once bought me a gift on his own initiative like this. Every single time, I had to pick something out first, and only then would he pay for it, and even then, he'd always have to complain about it. Even a casual friend is showing me this kind of proactive concern now. The contrast is just so stark. Chinwon, what's wrong? Guchen noticed the shift in my mood. It's nothing. I was just thinking about some things. About Jiangqing. I nodded. Guchen was silent for a moment. Chinwon, actually, Jiangqing don't talk about him. I cut Guchen off. That's all in the past. Alright. Guchen didn't say anything more. We wandered around the mall for a while longer, then had dinner together. Guchen was very considerate, helping me order food and pour water. He was really thoughtful. Guchen, how are you so good at taking care of people? I asked. Living abroad for a few years, you get used to doing everything yourself, he said with a smile. Besides, taking care of someone you care about just comes naturally. I understood what he was implying, but I didn't respond. Even though Guchen is a great guy, I'm not ready to start something new right now. I just got out of a 3-year relationship. I need some time to get my head straight. On the way home, Guchen said, Chinwon, I know you might not be ready to think about relationships right now, but I want you to know that I'm serious about this. Guchen, you don't have to answer me. I just wanted you to know how I feel. He stopped the car and looked at me. I can wait until the day you're ready. Looking into his sincere eyes, I felt a touch of emotion in my heart. Thank you, Guchen, I said. Could you give me some time? Of course, he nodded. Take all the time you need. When I got home, I took out that bracelet and looked at it. It was exquisite, truly beautiful, even more beautiful than the necklace Jiangqing bought for Lu Sisi. I put on the bracelet and looked at myself in the mirror. It fits perfectly, just like Guchen's care for me. It's a perfect fit. Perhaps that's just how some people are. They don't need grand gestures or passionate vows. They just need to appear at the right time and offer quiet, steadfast support. And then there are others, even after loving for a long time and giving so much, if it's not a good fit, it simply isn't meant to be. With that thought, I took out my phone and scrolled through my chat history with Jiangqing. The last message was still from him. Chinwon, can we talk? It was sent 3 days ago. I didn't reply. Looking back now, there's no need to reply anyway. I've deleted him for good from my contacts, from WeChat, from my life. Wiped clean. Chapter 8. After deleting Jiangqing, my life became much easier. Work is going well, my friends are supportive, and everything is just fine. My relationship with Guchen is also progressing slowly. He doesn't rush me or put any pressure on me. He just naturally became a part of my life. Sometimes when I work late, he waits for me downstairs and we grab a late night bite together. When I'm feeling down, he'll go for a walk with me and listen to me. Then, if we're bored on the weekend, he'll take me to see a movie or for a stroll in the park. This dynamic between us feels really comfortable. There's no arguing, no silent treatment, no suspicion, all I needed was companionship and understanding. Then one day, I ran into Lu Cece again at the mall. She looked much more haggard, her eyes red as if she'd been crying. Sister Chi, she walked over to me. Do you have a moment to talk? I checked the time and nodded in agreement. We took a seat at the coffee shop in the mall. Sister Chi, Mr. Jiang, he hasn't been doing well lately, Lu Cece said cautiously. That has nothing to do with me, I said calmly, sipping my coffee. But he's been looking for you. For me, I frowned. What do you mean? He's been asking a lot of people for your new work address, and he even went to your old place. My heart skipped a beat. Is Jiangqing following me? Sister Chi, President Jiang is truly remorseful, Lu Cece continued. He's been working overtime every day, won't speak to anyone, and even when I report to him, his mind is elsewhere. So what? I set down my coffee cup. Lu Cece, did he send you to see me today? Lu Cece blushed. I came of my own accord. Why? Because I think I might have misunderstood something. She lowered her head. The day Mr. Jiang bought me the necklace, he actually meant to buy it for you, but you left too quickly, and he didn't have time to give it to you. I was taken aback. Later, he asked me what kind of gift a girl would like. I thought he was going to buy it for you, so I suggested a necklace, Lu Cece said. After he bought it, he saw how much I liked it and just gave it to me. He said, it's not like you would have accepted it anyway. I'm feeling a bit conflicted. So that necklace really was for me. Sister Chi, Mr. Jiang has always cared a great deal about you. Lu Cece looked up at me. He often asks me how you would handle a certain task. He even keeps a photo of you on his desk and looks at it every day. I fell silent. Sister Chi, could you please talk to President Jiang? Lu Cece pleaded. I think there might be some misunderstanding between you. There's no misunderstanding. I shook my head. Cece, some things are more complicated than just a simple misunderstanding. But, no buts. I stood up. Thank you for telling me this, but the matter between me and Jiangqing is over. With that, I left. But Lu Cece's words had stirred something within me. Did Jiangqing truly regret it? Had he really been looking for me all this time? I got home feeling a bit agitated. I had already decided to start a new life, so why was I still being affected by the past? My phone buzzed with a message from Gu Chen. Are you free tonight? I made your favorite braised pork belly. Reading this message, I felt a bit calmer. I'll be right there, I replied. Yes, I should look ahead. I really need to let go of what happened in Jiangqing for good. Chapter 9. After dinner at Gu Chen's place, I felt a lot better. His braised pork belly was really delicious, even more flavorful than at a restaurant. Gu Chen, when did your cooking get this good? I asked. I picked it up while living abroad, he said with a smile. When you're on your own, if you can't cook, you'll go hungry. Well, I'm in for some good eating from now on. You're always welcome to come over for a meal, Gu Chen said to me, his gaze gentle. We sat on the sofa watching TV, the atmosphere warm and cozy. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Who is it? Gu Chen frowned. It's so late. He went to answer the door, and I heard a familiar voice from outside. Is Qinwan here? It's Jiangqing. My heart skipped a beat. How did he find this place? Jiangqing. Gu Chen's voice was laced with surprise. What are you doing here? Tell me, is Qinwan here? Jiangqing's voice was urgent. What's it to you? Gu Chen's tone turned cold. She's my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, Gu Chen corrected. I never agreed to break up. Jiangqing's voice grew louder. Listening to their conversation, I felt a complex mix of emotions. In the end, I still walked out. Jiangqing. I looked at him standing in the doorway. He looked utterly disheveled, with messy hair and crumpled clothes. Qinwan. His eyes lit up the moment he saw me. You're finally here. How did you find this place? I've been looking for you for so long, asking everyone. Jiangqing walked towards me. Qinwan, we need to talk. There's nothing left to discuss. I took a step back. Jiangqing, I've already told you, we're over. I won't accept that. Jiangqing's voice was thick with emotion. Qinwan, I know I've done a lot of things wrong, but I can change. You've said that so many times before. I shook my head, but you've never actually changed. This time is different. Jiangqing grabbed my hand. Qinwan, I've done a lot of thinking lately. I know I neglected you before. I know I wasn't good enough, but I can really change this time. I pulled my hand free. Jiangqing, don't be like this. Then what do you want me to do? Jiangqing's eyes reddened. Qinwan, I love you. I really do. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have let me suffer so much. I looked at him, my heart utterly calm. Jiangqing, we're really not right for each other. No, Jiangqing said loudly, we are right. We've been together for 3 years. We are perfect for each other. 3 years. I gave a bitter smile. Jiangqing, what have you given me in these 3 years, neglect, indifference, or your preference for someone else. Jiangqing was stunned. For these 3 years, I've been constantly accommodating you, enduring your coldness, and being moved by every little thing you did. My voice was calm, but now I understand. That wasn't love, that was just me deluding myself. Qinhuan, Jiangqing, it's really over between us. I took a few steps back, moving closer to Gu Chen. Please don't disturb my life anymore. Jiangqing watched us draw closer, his expression darkening. Qinhuan, you and him, that's none of your business. How can you say it doesn't matter? Jiangqing's emotions completely shattered. Qinhuan, you can't do this to me. We have 3 years together. 3 years, 3 years of feelings, and yet they can't compare to your concern for an intern. I said flatly. Jiangqing, just go. I'm not going, Jiangqing said. Qinhuan, come back with me. Let's talk this out properly. She said she doesn't want to talk to you. Gu Chen stepped in front of me. Jiangqing, don't push it, going too far. Jiangqing sneered. Gu Chen, you're the one who's gone too far. You're taking advantage of the situation. What do you mean, taking advantage? Gu Chen's voice turned icy. You're the one who didn't appreciate what you had, and now you're blaming others. The two men stood in a tense standoff, the air thick with hostility. I feel utterly exhausted. Stop arguing, I said. Jiangqing, just go. I'm not going back with you. Chapter 10. Jiangqing stood there, his eyes fixed on me and Gu Chen. His expression was a complex mix of anger, resentment, and deep regret. Qinhuan, are you really choosing him? He asked. I looked at Gu Chen beside me, then at Jiangqing. Jiangqing, it's not about making a choice, I said, it's that we're truly not right for each other. What do you mean, not right? Jiangqing stepped toward me. Qinhuan, we've been together since university. What part of us isn't right? We're incompatible in personality, in how we interact, and even in our understanding of what a relationship should be, I said, enunciating each word clearly. Jiangqing, in these 3 years, how many times have we fought? How many cold wars have we had? Do you even remember? Jiangqing fell silent. Every single time, I was the one to apologize first. I was the one to give in first. I continued. I thought that was love. I thought if I loved you enough, you'd eventually be moved. You did move me, Jiangqing said softly. No, I shook my head. If you were truly moved, you wouldn't have forgotten my birthday, you wouldn't have forgotten our anniversary, and you wouldn't have chosen to be with someone else when I needed your care the most. Jiangqing's expression grew increasingly grim. Jiangqing, I don't blame you for not loving me enough, because love is a two-way street. I looked at him. But I blame you for giving me hope, only to let me down time and time again. Qinhuan, I can change. You can't change. I cut him off. Jiangqing, it's who you are. You can't change that. Jiangqing stood there, and the tears finally fell. Qinhuan, you can't do this to me. We have so many wonderful memories. Let the memories stay in the past, I said. Jiangqing, we both need to move on. Jiangqing looked at me, said nothing in the end, and turned to leave. Watching his retreating figure, I felt a pang of sadness, but more than that, a sense of relief. Qinhuan, are you okay? Gu Chen asked with concern. I'm fine, I shook my head. It's just, it feels like it's finally over. Gu Chen led me to sit down on the sofa. Qinhuan, I need to talk to you. He looked into my eyes. After Jiangqing came by today, I suddenly realized something. What is it? I don't want to wait any longer. Gu Chen took my hand. Qinhuan, I know you just got out of a relationship and might need time to heal, but I want you to know, my feelings for you are real. Looking at him, I felt a deep warmth in my heart. Chengu, you don't have to answer me now, he said. I just want you to know that no matter how long it takes for you to move on, I'll be here waiting for you. I was deeply moved by his sincerity. Gu Chen, I wanted to say something, but the words caught in my throat. I'd like to give it a try, too. I finally spoke my mind. When I'm with you, I feel at ease. I feel happy. It's a feeling I haven't had in a long time. Gu Chen's eyes lit up. You mean, let's give it a try? I nodded, but you'll have to give me some time to adjust to this new kind of feeling. Of course, Gu Chen said happily. We'll take it slow. There's no rush. He gently took my hand and planted a soft kiss on the back of it. Qinhuan, thank you for giving me a chance. No, thank you, I said. Thank you for being there when I needed someone the most. It was the least I could do. We shared a smile, and the air was thick with sweetness. Even though my 3-year relationship with Jiangqing was over, I believed a better life was waiting for me. Being with Gu Chen, I feel what true love really is. There are no arguments, no silent treatments, only care and understanding. This is the kind of relationship I've always wanted. Goodbye, Jiangqing. Thank you for showing me what love isn't supposed to be, and thank you for leading me to the one who is. Now, I'm ready to start my new life, a life that is truly my own. The end. That's the end of the first story. I hope you enjoyed it. The next one will be even more exciting, so let's keep going. Zhou Yubai was the illegitimate son of a wealthy family. I stood by him for 7 long years, from having nothing to taking control of the Zhou family, but once he secured his position, he brought another girl home. She is my light. While you were merely a duty my family forced upon me, I didn't argue with him. I quietly packed my things, and even helped him move that girl's luggage into the master bedroom. Little did he know, at the very moment he was introducing his one true love to everyone, I was sitting by old Master Zhou's sickbed, placing the evidence of his embezzlement and the framing of his own brother, piece by piece, before the old man's eyes. I was trimming his favorite clivia by the entryway when Zhou Yubai walked in with Lin Wei. The cold glint of the shears reflected the face of the girl behind him, timid, yet with a hint of defiance. Ching. Zhou Yubai's voice was flat, as if he were commenting on the poor weather. This is Lin Wei, she'll be living here from now on. I set down the scissors, not looking at Lin Wei, my eyes fixed only on him. For 7 years, I stood by him. I watched him rise from the Zhou family's most unwanted bastard son to the very heart of its power, outmaneuvering 2 legitimate born heirs to secure his position as chairman of the Zhou group. I thought our boundless future was finally within reach, but then he brought a girl home. Zhou Yubai, what are you trying to say? He seemed annoyed by my questioning, a slight frown creasing his brow. Isn't my meaning clear enough? He pulled Lin Wei behind him, a protective gesture that felt like a knife to my heart. Lin Wei is my light, he said, each word a death sentence, and you, Shen Qing, are just a duty my grandfather forced on me. Responsibility. Those 2 words were ice cold, piercing straight to the heart. I smiled. All right. Without another word, I turned and walked upstairs. Lin Wei's fragile voice came from behind me. Yubai, did I upset Qing? Zhou Yubai's voice was gentle in a way that felt foreign to me. It's not your fault, she needs to learn her place. The master bedroom no longer belonged to me. Lin Wei's suitcase, a girly shade of pink, was sitting by the door. I opened the door with a blank expression, carried her suitcase inside, and placed it on the bed I had slept in for 7 years. Zhou Yubai followed me in, leaning against the doorframe with an icy glare. Smart move. I ignored him and walked straight to the walk-in closet. Half of it held my clothes, and the other half was filled with outfits I had bought for him. I began to pack my things, one item at a time. He suddenly spoke up. Wait. He walked in and, from the pile of things I had sorted, picked out a pair of cufflinks. This stays, he said calmly. I looked at him. For these cufflinks, I once got lost in a Parisian alleyway during a blizzard and came down with a high fever. Burning with fever, I clutched the small box, picturing the delighted look on his face when he'd wear them. Lin Wei said she really likes this brand, he added casually. The words were like a blunt knife, slowly and painfully grinding away at the faith I had built over 7 years, leaving it raw and bleeding. I looked at him. The eyes that had once sworn to shine only for me now felt utterly foreign, all because of another woman. My heart clenched, the pain so sharp it stole my breath. But in the end, I placed the pair of cufflinks back into his side of the jewelry box. Okay, I only said one word. 2. I packed up my things quickly. 2 suitcases held the entirety of my 7-year youth. Lin Wei followed closely behind, like a victor surveying her newly claimed territory. Sis Qing, please don't blame Yubai, he's just too in love with me, she said, biting her lip and putting on a pitiful, delicate act. Are you really leaving? We could actually live together, you know. I wouldn't mind. I was so exasperated by her words I could only laugh. What an idiot. The way her mind works is a real labyrinth. What she sees as a victory, I see as nothing more than a clumsy performance by a pathetic clown. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look at her. The air conditioner in the master bedroom has a chronic issue. It blows directly onto the head of the bed. Tell Zhou Yubai to remember to have someone fix it, or it'll give you headaches. Also, his stomach is sensitive. There's medicine in the second drawer of the nightstand. Don't let him take it on an empty stomach. The right armrest on the pearwood chair in the study is a bit loose. I never got around to having it fixed. Remind him not to lean on it too hard. With every word I spoke, Lin Wei's face cycled from pale to ashen to deathly white. Her lips trembled, the smugness in her eyes completely overtaken by dread. These were habits ingrained in Zhou Yubai's very bones, and proof of the 7 years I'd spent looking after him. Day in and day out, she thought she had won Zhou Yubai for herself, But she had no idea that I had already molded his life into something entirely different. What she took over was merely a shell I had custom tailored. You, Lin Wei's eyes welled up with tears, looking as if she had suffered a grave injustice. Zhou Yubai came upstairs just in time to witness this scene. He pulled Lin Wei protectively into his arms and snapped at me. Shenqing, are you bullying her again? If you've packed your things, then get out of here. Don't just stand there being an eyesore. I walked past them, dragging my suitcase, and couldn't even be bothered to spare them a glance. Get out. 7 years ago, the two young masters of the Zhou family had said that very word to Zhou Yubai as well. That day, I was the one who pulled him out of the mire. Today, he used the same word to push me right back in. As the car drove out through the iron gates of the Zhou family mansion, I saw in the rearview mirror Zhou Yubai lowering his head, gently wiping away Lin Wei's tears. 3. I didn't go back to any of the properties under my name. Every one of those places is saturated with memories of Zhou Yubai. I had the driver take me to a hotel in the city center that I had booked well in advance, a penthouse suite with a commanding view. I drew back the curtains, and the city's nightscape spread out before me amidst that sea of glittering lights. The glow from the Zhou residence seemed particularly insignificant. I took out my phone and dialed a number. Hello, it's me. Is everything ready? Zhou Yubai thought I wouldn't be able to survive without him. After all, for these 7 years, I had given up my own studies, severed all social ties, and lived in his shadow like an accessory, all for him. But he forgot. Before I met him, I was also the cherished jewel of the Shen family. Although our family couldn't rival the Zhou's in influence, we once held our own in the business world. That was until my father's failed investments led to our family's decline. Old Master Zhou, my father's old friend, took me in then and arranged my engagement to Zhou Yubai, who was also struggling at the time. The old man said, "You two have both had a hard life, you must look out for each other from now on." I kept my word, but Zhou Yubai forgot. All these years, I wasn't blind to his little schemes. All my suspicions began with that project in the Southern District 3 years ago. He made a 9-figure adjustment in the accounts, telling me it was necessary for greasing the wheels. Out of years of trust and not wanting to distract him, I didn't press the matter. It wasn't until I accidentally saw his chat history with an unknown number, mentioning an offshore account. A woman's intuition told me something was off. I had someone look into it privately and discovered the account holder was none other than Lin Wei's mother. In that moment, my blood ran cold. It turns out his light had long been shining on someone else. From that day on, I stopped lying to myself. I began quietly gathering every piece of information about him, from how he exploited loopholes in the Zhou family's financial system to launder money through multiple shell companies, to how he fabricated evidence to frame his 2 older brothers. I used to believe that if I were good enough, if he rose high enough, he would see my worth and abandon those underhanded methods. I consider this evidence, which could damn him to hell, as our final ace in the hole. I pray we never have to use it. But he shattered that illusion with his own hands. My phone vibrated with a message from Zhou Yubai's assistant Ms. Shen. "Mr. Zhou can't find the proposal for next month's bid. Where did you put it?" I looked at that message and found it laughable. I pulled 3 all-nighters to finish the proposal. Every single word of it is etched into my mind. I replied with just 2 words, "Don't know." Not long after, Zhou Yubai's call came through. He was barely containing his anger. "Shenqing, don't you play these hard-to-get games with me. Where's the proposal? I sent you the handover list. Can't you read it yourself?" My voice was unnervingly calm. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line, followed by an even fiercer outburst. "Who has time to read through hundreds of pages? I'm ordering you. Tell me right now." He was used to my complete obedience, used to me being at his beck and call. "Mr. Zhou," I chuckled softly. "It seems you've forgotten, I've already been shown the door. From now on, your affairs are none of my concern." I hung up the phone without another word, listening to the dial tone in my ear. I could just picture Zhou Yubai absolutely fuming at that very moment. He will come to realize that without me, he is utterly rootless and adrift, easily toppled. The very details he never bothered with are the very foundation that props up his polished facade. And now, I am the one pulling that foundation out from under him. To formally introduce Lin Wei to everyone, Zhou Yubai is preparing to host a grand banquet. The venue was set at the 7-star hotel owned by the Zhou family. The invitation arrived while I was having tea on the balcony. On the gilded card, the names Zhou Yubai and Lin Wei were pressed side by side, glaringly close. I tossed it into the trash without a second thought. It wasn't long before Lin Wei's message arrived. The MMS was a photo of her trying on a gown, and the design was unmistakably from my favorite designer brand, Qingqing. "What do you think? Does it look good?" Yubai said I look best in this. Every word was dripping with smugness. I shot back, "Nice outfit. Too bad the person wearing it can't carry it off. She probably didn't expect me to be so blunt. There was no reply for a long time. A moment later, a voice message came through. It was Zhou Yubai's voice, thick with warning. Shenqing, don't think I don't know what's on your mind. Put away those cheap tricks of yours and stay away from Lin Wei. You must come to the banquet, in front of everyone. We'll settle this once and for all. So that's his game. He wants me to be the backdrop for their love story, using my humiliation to highlight their perfect ending. I laughed. Fine, if he wants me there, how could I possibly refuse? I wouldn't miss such a spectacular show for the world. On the day of the banquet, I didn't show up in glamorous attire to outshine Lin Wei as they had expected. I chose a simple black suit and wore no makeup. The car didn't head towards the brightly lit hotel. Instead, I headed for the outskirts of the city, to the secluded and almost isolated Zhou family ancestral home. The Zhou family patriarch had been living here ever since his stroke. The guards at the gate recognized me and, aware of the old man's high regard for me, offered no resistance. They respectfully opened the main gate for me. Passing through the long courtyard, I arrived at the patriarch's study. He sat in his wheelchair, gazing at the sunset outside the window, a solitary and forlorn figure. Though the old man had suffered a stroke and was immobile, his mind remained sharp. In fact, the quiet convalescence had given him a clearer perspective on certain matters than ever before. He had long harbored suspicions about Zhou Yubai's recent behavior, but was frustrated, confined to his sickbed and unable to investigate personally. All I did was finally tear down that thin veil of pretense. At the sound of footsteps, he slowly turned his head, a glimmer of light flashing in his clouded eyes. You're here, child, he spoke with great effort, yet every word was filled with affection. I walked over, crouched down beside him, and took his withered hand in mine. Grandpa, I'm here. 5. I stayed with the old man, and we talked for a long time. From the first time I stepped into the Zhou family home, to my engagement with Zhou Yubai, and how we ended up where we are today. I spoke calmly, as if recounting someone else's story. The old man listened quietly, his wrinkled face betraying no emotion. Then, my phone began buzzing frantically. It was Zhou Yubai. I impatiently hit mute, but he was relentless, calling over and over again. In the end, I answered, Shenqing, where are you? Everyone's waiting for you. His voice was practically a shout. Are you too scared to show up? Afraid of making a fool of yourself? I remained silent. He sounded even angrier on the other end of the line. Listen to me. You're coming today whether you like it or not. I've already sent someone to pick you up. Don't even think about hiding. We need to settle this once and for all. I let out a soft chuckle. Zhou Yubai, what's the rush? With that, I hung up the phone and turned it off. The world fell instantly silent. I turned my gaze back to the old man, and his eyes had grown sharp. Did he hurt you? I shook my head, then took a folder out of the bag I was carrying. Grandfather, take a look at this first. I opened the folder and spread the documents inside, one by one, on the table in front of the old man. The first one was the detailed financial statement for a real estate project under the Zhou family's conglomerate. A sum reaching 9 figures was transferred to a private offshore account. This is the payment from the South City project 3 years ago, I explained quietly. Zhou Yubai told me the money was necessary for greasing the wheels, but I looked into it. The account is registered under Lin Wei's mother. The old man's breathing instantly grew heavy and ragged. His one good hand trembled as he pointed at the document, his eyes wide as saucers. Just then, a knock sounded at the study door. It was Lin Wei. I knew it was her the moment I heard that frail, anxious voice. She probably volunteered to be the mediator, trying to further elevate her own status, but her plan clearly backfired. The Zhou family's butler stood blocking the doorway. Miss Lin, the master is speaking with Miss Shen and has given orders not to receive guests. From outside the door came Lin Wei's tearful voice. Uncle Butler, please, just let me in. Yunbai is going out of his mind with worry. The banquet is about to start. If Sister Shenqing doesn't show up soon, this will turn into a huge scandal. I ignored his words and slid the second document across the table to the old master. It was a stack of photographs. The photos showed the Zhou family's eldest grandson, Zhou Yubai's older brother Zhou Qiming, acting intimately with a heavily made-up woman inside a hotel room. This is the incident from 5 years ago, the one that got Big Brother disowned and thrown out of the house. Zhou Yubai told me that it was our eldest brother's improper private life, embezzling company funds to keep a mistress, that got caught by the paparazzi and brought shame upon the Zhou family. But my investigation revealed that this woman was an actress hired by Zhou Yubai, and that so-called embezzled funds ultimately ended up, through several shell companies, in the bank account of Lin Wei's mother. The old man's hands, braced against the table, began to tremble violently. The teacup on the table was knocked over by his movement, scalding hot tea splashing over his hand, yet he seemed utterly numb to the pain outside the door. Lin Wei was still sobbing and wailing, "Sis Qingqing, I know I was wrong, I shouldn't have gotten together with Yu Bai, please come out, okay, if you keep hiding like this, Yu Bai will hate you for the rest of his life." I let out a cold, scornful laugh. I placed the final envelope on the very top. The envelope had yellowed with age, looking quite old. "Grandpa, this is the anonymous letter from back then, the one that got second brother sent to the African branch." Zhou Yubai said it was a joint complaint from the company's founding members. They claimed second brother was incompetent, overly ambitious, and trying to sideline you. You were so furious at the time that you had him transferred out. The old man's eyes were fixed intently on that envelope. I opened the envelope and pulled out the letter inside. "I hired the top handwriting analysis expert in the country. This letter is a forgery." Zhou Yubai imitated the signatures of over a dozen company directors, one piece of evidence after another. Every piece of it was bloody proof of Zhou Yubai climbing to the top over the corpses of his sworn brothers. The old man's mouth hung open. With his last ounce of strength, he pointed at the evidence, a desperate, rasping roar tearing from his throat. "You monster, you beast." He tried to speak, but could no longer form a single, coherent word. He slid completely out of the wheelchair and crashed heavily to the floor. I watched him, my gaze utterly unflinching. I slowly crouched down and pressed the forged letter of accusation into his tightly clenched hand. My voice was soft, yet each word struck a heavy blow against his heart. "Grandfather, do you see now? Do you see what kind of monster you raised with your own hands?" Outside the window, in the direction of the distant hotel, a firework shot into the sky, bursting into a brilliant display against the night. It was Zhou Yubai's grand, public declaration of love, prepared for his beloved. But here, in this room, the very sky of the Zhou family came crashing down. 6. The old master was rushed to the hospital. The butler kept the news tightly under wraps. Aside from a few trusted confidants at the old estate, no one knew what had happened. I followed the ambulance to the hospital. Only after everything was settled did I finally turn on my phone. There were over 100 missed calls, all from Zhou Yubai and Lin Wei, and countless messages. "Qingqing, where on earth are you? Are you trying to ruin me? Qingqing, please, I'm begging you, come back quickly. Yubai, he's trashed the entire party. Qingqing, if you have any guts, you'll stay gone for good." I read through them one by one, then deleted them all without a flicker of emotion. I left the hospital, hailed a cab, and returned to the hotel. The moment I stepped into my room, the phone rang. It was Uncle Liang, the Zhou family's old butler who had served the old master for decades. "Miss Shen, the old master is awake." Uncle Liang's voice sounded utterly exhausted. "He wishes to see you, Uncle Liang." I walked to the window, watching the stream of traffic below. "I've done all I can do. What's left is a Zhou family matter. It's not my place to get involved." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "The old man says he owes you an apology. He also said, the Zhou family owes you a debt." I laughed, a bitter, mournful sound. "No more," I said. 7 years ago, he took me in and arranged my engagement to Zhou Yubai. I've spent the last 7 years of my youth repaying that debt. As for Zhou Yubai, what he owes me, he'll spend the rest of his life paying back. We're even." After hanging up the phone, I poured myself a glass of red wine. The crimson liquid swirled in the glass, uncannily reminiscent of the bloodshed by Zhou Yubai's brothers. It was only when he turned the blade on me that I understood. In his world, there are no exceptions, only stepping stones. Pity, he chose the wrong stepping stone. I am not soft mud to be trampled upon. I am the bedrock that will trip him up and send him crashing down. 7. The storm within the Zhou family arrived faster and more violently than I had anticipated. The next morning, the headlines of the financial news were dominated by the Zhou Group. Zhou Yubai, president of the Zhou Group, was urgently suspended by the board of directors and is undergoing an internal investigation for alleged embezzlement and commercial fraud. In the news footage, Zhou Yubai was surrounded by reporters at the company entrance, his face ashen and his gaze fierce. Beside him, Lin Wei looked utterly distraught, clutching his arm desperately. How pitiful. I turned off the TV and started packing my bags. My phone started ringing like crazy again. Zhou Yubai, Lin Wei, and a few other so-called friends of mine. Without exception, they all came to confront me. "Qingqing, was it you? How could you be so vicious? Qingqing, you should apologize to Mr. Zhou quickly. He's in a really bad way. Qingqing, you've destroyed Yubai. You'll get what's coming to you." I didn't answer a single one. I just took out the SIM card and flushed it down the toilet. "This number, along with everyone and everything connected to it, needed to vanish. I booked the earliest flight to Europe. I had laid all my escape routes long ago. Zhou Yubai thought he had everything under control, but he never knew that I was the one truly holding the reins all along. In the airport's VIP lounge, I saw the latest news. The Zhou family patriarch personally stepped in, stripping Zhou Yubai of all his positions within the Zhou conglomerate. At the same time, he announced that the eldest grandson, Zhou Qiming, who was abroad, would be brought back to the country to take charge. The dust has settled. Zhou Yubai was utterly and completely defeated. Just as I was about to board the plane, I received a text from an unknown number. "It's me, Zhou Yubai." I raised an eyebrow. He still had the energy to get a new number to contact me. "I know it's you, Shenqing. You went to the old house. You saw grandfather. Tell me, why? I gave you 7 years of wealth and comfort. Is this how you repay me?" Reading those lines of accusation, I could only feel the bitter irony. He will never see his own faults in his eyes. Everything I do is taken for granted. The slightest resistance from me is seen as betrayal. I thought about it, and sent him one final message. "Zhou Yubai, don't you love the light? Hell is so dark, that's where your light will shine brightest. I merely, personally escorted you down, so you could see it clearly. Yuri, welcome." After sending it, I blocked the number and boarded the plane. "Goodbye, Zhou Yubai, goodbye, my absurd and laughable 7 years." 8 After the plane landed, I settled down in a quiet lakeside town. I needed time to completely shed the marks left by the past 7 years. I would sleep in every day, take walks by the lake, or find a cafe to read books all day long. I picked up my professional studies again, enrolled in online courses, and started planning for my life. This peaceful and unburdened life makes me feel like I've been reborn. Occasionally, I would come across news about the Zhou family in some financial magazines. After Zhou Qiming's return, he acted with swift and decisive measures, quickly stabilizing the situation at Zhou Enterprises. He purged all the loyalists left behind by Zhou Yubai and thoroughly reorganized the company's operations. The Zhou family's great ship, which Zhou Yubai had nearly scuttled, was steered back onto the right course under his leadership. As for Zhou Yubai himself, the report only mentioned him in passing. After being cast out of the Zhou family, all of his cards were frozen. Lin Wei also left him immediately, taking with her the last bit of cash he had on him. He wanted to find a job, but no company dared to hire him. When I saw these messages, I felt nothing inside. He got exactly what he deserved. About a month later, the people sent by Zhou Qiming found me. The visitor was a sharp-looking middle-aged man who introduced himself as Zhou Qiming's personal assistant. "Miss Shen, the young master would like to see you." I wasn't surprised. I nodded and said, "All right." The meeting was arranged at a discreet Chinese restaurant. Zhou Qiming appeared more composed than in his photographs, with a resolute firmness in his brow that echoed the old master's. He looked at me, his expression inscrutable. "Thank you," he said, getting straight to the point. "Don't mention it," I said, pouring him a cup of tea. "I didn't do it for you." He picked up the teacup and took a small sip. "I know, I was just thinking it back then. I hadn't been so easily fooled by him. Maybe you wouldn't have had to go down this path." I shook my head. "There are no what-ifs. What happened to him wasn't your fault. He just took advantage of the trust you placed in him." A brief silence fell between us. In the end, he was the one who broke the silence. "Grandpa, he misses you a lot." The teacup in my hand paused for a moment. "How is he doing?" "Not well, but not terrible either," said Zhou Qiming. "The doctor said it was a sudden fit of rage that overwhelmed him. He's having trouble moving around now, but his mind is clear. He asked me to tell you that the Zhou family's door is always open for you." I gave a faint smile and said nothing. "I'm never going back to the Zhou family." "What are your plans for the future?" he asked. "I want to continue my studies, and then open a small gallery of my own," I said, voicing the dream I once had, the dream I had buried deep in my heart for Zhou Yubai. Zhou Qiming nodded. "If you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out." He handed me a business card. "Shenqing," he said, looking at me earnestly. "You're a good person, you deserve a better life." I took the card and gave him a smile. "Thank you." I know he meant it sincerely, but from now on, I must walk my own path. 9 My gallery opened a few months later. It was situated on a quiet street corner, not large, but very cozy. On opening day, Zhou Qiming sent a flower basket with just 4 simple words: "A bright future." I placed the flower basket in the most prominent spot. The gallery business is neither booming nor failing. It provides just enough to sustain my life and affords me ample time for my own creative work. I paint mountains, I paint the sea, I paint the clouds in the sky, and the wildflowers by the roadside. I just haven't painted a person since. I thought my life would continue on in this quiet, uneventful way. That was the day Zhou Yubai arrived. His figure was both familiar and strange. I was tidying my easel when I heard the wind chime at the door ring. I froze. I only found out later that this was his last day out on bail before he was sent to prison. He had lost a lot of weight and looked utterly haggard, with disheveled hair and sunken eyes. All the vigor and ambition he once had were completely gone. He looked at me, his eyes a complex mix of remorse, resentment, and bitter venom. "Shenqing," he said, his voice gravelly and strained. I straightened up, looking at him calmly. "What is it?" "I've been looking for you for a long time," Zhou Yubai said, walking towards me step by step. I didn't step back. I just watched him quietly. "You're doing well for yourself," he said, his voice thick with bitterness as he looked around my gallery. "Thanks to you," I replied flatly. My words caught him off guard, and his expression darkened. "Why are you doing this to me?" He finally asked the question that had been haunting him. I thought we had something real. Something real. I let out a bitter laugh, as if I'd just heard the biggest joke. "Zhou Yubai, are you even worthy of talking about feelings? The moment you brought Lin Wei through that door and called me nothing but an obligation, there was nothing left between us." My voice was quiet, but every word pierced his heart like a needle. He staggered back a step, his face deathly pale. I was just, he tried to explain, but found he couldn't get the words out. "You were just what?" I closed in on him, "just so dazzled by your own brilliance that you found this shadow of yours inconvenient, and wanted to kick it aside. Is that it? What do you take me, Shenqing, for? Some slave you can summon and dismiss at will, with no dignity and no bottom line, Zhou Yubai, you think too highly of yourself and far too little of me." My words left him speechless. All he could do was stare at me with those bloodshot eyes, burning with hatred. "You destroyed me," he muttered to himself. "You've ruined everything I had." "I destroyed you," I sneered. "No, I merely pulled you down from a position that was never rightfully yours. Everything you have now is exactly what you were always meant to have. A pathetic wretch who has nothing, who can only climb by betraying his brothers and trampling on those he claims to love." That sentence shattered the last of his defenses. He lunged at me like a madman. "I'll kill you." I didn't flinch. Just as his hand was about to touch me, the gallery door swung open. 2 bodyguards in black suits rushed in, seizing him by both arms. Zhou Qiming entered from outside. Without so much as a glance at Zhou Yubai, he walked straight up to me. "Are you all right?" I shook my head. Only then did Zhou Qiming turn around, his gaze icy as he looked at Zhou Yubai, who was thrashing about like a rabid dog. "Take him away," he said, his voice frigid. "I don't want to see this man appear in her life ever again." "Yes, young master." Zhou Yubai was dragged out, still cursing foully under his breath. The gallery fell quiet once more. 10. Zhou Qiming did not pursue Zhou Yubai to the bitter end in their business dealings. However, he anonymously sent the evidence of Zhou Yubai's frame up to the judicial authorities. Given the irrefutable evidence and the substantial sum involved, even the Zhou family's connections could not completely shield him from punishment. In the end, Zhou Yubai was sentenced to 8 years in prison for forging commercial documents and committing commercial fraud. This outcome is enough to ruin his entire life. As for Lin Wei, with the money she swindled from Zhou Yubai, she dreamed of skyrocketing to success. Instead, her greed and gullibility led her to be scammed out of every last penny to make ends meet. She was forced to frequent places she once looked down upon. That so-called light within her was ultimately extinguished in the mire of neon-lit decadence. All this information was regularly sent to me by Zhou Qiming's personal assistant. He said it was the young master's wish. He wanted me to know that everyone who had ever hurt me had received their just deserts. After reading it, I simply replied with a calm "understood." Their lives no longer have anything to do with me. After that, I never saw Zhou Yubai again. I heard that after he was imprisoned, he applied to see me several times, but I refused every request. After a while, all news of him ceased completely. 8 years is enough time for many things to change. My gallery was gradually gaining traction, and I was beginning to make a small name for myself in the art world. Zhou Qiming visited a few times. He would always look at the paintings quietly, and then by one or two, we became like friends, occasionally meeting for a cup of coffee and a chat. He never spoke of the past, nor did he ever mention anything about feelings. There's an unspoken understanding between us. He knew I needed time, and he was willing to give it to me. Then, one year, I returned to my home country to hold a painting exhibition. At the celebratory banquet, I ran into Uncle Liang, whom I hadn't seen in ages. He has aged considerably, but his spirit remained sharp and vigorous. He told me that the old man passed away peacefully a year ago. Right until the end, he was still clutching the inkstone I had given him, the old man said. The person I've wronged most in this life is you. Uncle Liang's eyes grew moist. His greatest wish was for you to come home. I was silent for a long moment before saying softly, Uncle Liang, the place I am now is home. Uncle Liang looked at me and smiled, a look of deep contentment on his face. Yes, he said, you have a home of your own now. After the exhibition ended, I went to the old Zhou family residence. The place remains, but the people are gone. I stood beneath the osmanthus tree I had planted with my own hands. A breeze swept by, carrying with it that familiar, sweet fragrance. It was as if I could see that afternoon from many years ago once more. A down-and-out young man and an equally down-and-out young girl stood beneath this very tree, promising each other they would walk together toward a bright future. The pity is, halfway through his journey, he was blinded by another false light and pushed away the very person who had accompanied him through the long, dark night. The phone rang. It was Zhou Qiming. The exhibition was a great success. Congratulations. Thank you. Are you free tonight? Fancy grabbing a bite to eat? I looked at the tree laden with golden osmanthus blossoms and smiled. Sure, sounds good, the end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. We bring you new, exciting content every week that you won't want to miss. Feel free to share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Let's chat. And remember to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you next time.